Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Tige Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Tige Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. LAPEEF family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 five-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tige Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Tige Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off the first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today. Shout out to the sponsor, Tige Hanley. Let's get this show started. What's going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef-ING on Sundays on the Lapeef Network. Introduce the crew. We got Cal, we got Kelly, Pink, Amber, Kayla, Courtney, Jay, me, myself, and Lapeef J.I. Welcome to Lapeef-ING on Sundays. How y'all doing, family? Somebody missing? Somebody drop on?
What up? What up? What up?
What's going on? Good morning.
What's going on, family?
Happy Sunday.
What's happening, y'all?
That's right. We made it through another one.
Yeah.
Happy Memorial Day as well to all those celebrating Memorial Day. Peace and love to y'all at the house.
Y'all talking about a holiday? Is it a real holiday that you guys celebrate, or you guys just like it because either you getting paid time off or?
Yeah, that's it. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Bike week in South Carolina.
You said
Myrtle Beach.
Bike weekend?
Yeah, Myrtle Beach.
Ah.
I don't necessarily go anywhere to any kind of ceremonies, but it is always good to remember those who have died, in war and whatnot. I always kind of appreciate that. I've had family members who have been in the Army. I'm not necessarily built like that, but I come from a family that is. So, I always do want to take a moment to salute those who are braver than me, to go on another soil, fight for, whatever we're fighting for in that particular war. And, so I always want to salute them on a day like this.
I definitely celebrate. My dad served in the Air Force, my grandfather in the Army, my son's father in the Army. So, I definitely appreciate the contribution, definitely the stories, even how our veterans get treated properly, the lack thereof, when they come home. So I definitely honor them and celebrate. I'm actually going to take my dad out to eat after this show.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I definitely celebrate. I think you should give honor to the people who served our country and gave their lives so we can live in this free country. So definitely. And my dad was in the Air Force too, Amber.
But otherwise, I also do like the day off on Monday. I'm not going to front on that either. Barbecue on Sunday, day off on Monday. I'm feeling all of that. So,
hey, Cal, speaking of feeling some type of way, Cal, that's a nice shirt you got on. That's a real nice shirt. I like it. I wish I could have one about size 2X.
I feel like we need to talk to JR about getting these sizes together. What's going on? I'm trying to get some pieces.
They want the sweatshirt.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably.
Yeah, I just got mine.
God damn. I know that's right.
I'm probably gonna have to get somebody else in charge of inventory.
I may need to call HR, I guess, huh?
It was HR the one that's getting it together.
I know, that's right. Let's go, y'all.
Yeah, I gave him that task. Like, you handle all the merch. But anyhow, appreciate you guys tuning in to LAPEEF-ING Sundays. Special announcement: if you haven't already, if you already don't know, tickets have gone on sale for Atlanta. The LAPEEF Experience invades Atlanta. That's April 5th and 6th. That link is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also in the description. So make sure you guys go ahead and get your tickets. And the tickets are moving pretty quickly, man. I appreciate if you have copped a ticket if you haven't already. It's going to be another one for the books that you don't want to miss. It's a 2-day event. 2-day event. All the details are in the description. So make sure you guys click it, see what it's about. Come out, come rock with us, and come experience the LAPEEF experience. There you have it. Are y'all ready to dive into it?
Let's get it.
Let's
All right, man. I wish I could see some barbecue kind of float across one of y'all screens, but I'm not sure if it's done yet.
Still marinating, you know what I mean? It's still we still getting the seasoning together. All that.
I got a quick question, yo. I got a quick question. What happened, Kyle, man? What made you do it?
Bro, it was not on purpose, man.
Smart pour the trail on us, huh?
I was trying to line myself up, you know what I mean? I was, and then I think like a noise happened over here, and I looked, and it just caught me on my beard over here. Then I tried to make it work by trying to line it up some more, and it just was looking messed up. So I just went to the barber. I was like, just start me over, bro. Just start me over. So.
But you have a nice chin. Some guys don't.
Thank you.
So, I mean, imagine if it would have been like a scary chin experience.
Jay, I'm gonna tell you the real truth. The dude lost a bet. That's what it was. Lost a bet. Yeah.
Man, so
do you have a cleft? Is it a cleft? Do you have a cleft?
Dude, I don't know. I feel like that's new. You know what I mean? I'm just looking at that now. That's something that's developing. I think that might be coming with age because I never noticed that till right this second.
I don't think a brother ever heard a compliment they had a nice chin. I think you
they call booty.
I prefer a strong jaw. We got a strong
you know, sometimes a man shaves, you're like, whoa, grow that back like ASAP, like immediately.
I'm sure somebody out there saying that, but I appreciate you.
You can do both. You can do it both. You can go both ways. I mean, not like that. Never mind.
Left.
It's 2022.
Well, Cal, I do want to put this out there. I do appreciate your honesty because when we asked Trill that question, and we got a totally different answer. And
what did he say?
And me being in the bathroom trying to get myself together, I do understand when you make a mistake and you just say, "Fuck it, I did that." I cut the beard off. I didn't recognize who I was, so I said, "Never again." I'll make sure I don't care if something crawling on the side of my neck. I ain't gonna move until I remove them clippers away from my face, and then I'm gonna see what it's about.
But let me say this though. The thing that got me to trying to line myself up, these barbershop prices is getting out of control. We all got to come together. Okay. I'm calling it up right now. Okay. I'm doing a call to action right now. These barbers done went crazy. $45, $50 for my same head. It used to be like $25, $30. If you got $30 on a haircut, that was a come up. Now it's like $50. They want to give you the, you know what I mean, the shampoo and the razor line, and I just want you to hook me up. So, you know,
and the shoulder massage.
You end up still going, right? You end up messing up your face, and you end up still going and paying, right?
Right. So, I mean, I couldn't believe it. That's what had me trying to line it up in the first place. Is these prices getting out of control? So, my bad.
Can all the guys like post their pre-beard pictures? Just pop them up so we can see.
That's a long time ago. We're gonna get it going. Yeah. I know you did the same thing too.
3 weeks ago.
Jay, yeah, you had a moment too, man. I don't know, y'all have a moment. I hope this don't come with age, because if that's what y'all doing with age, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go down that route. Y'all just shaving shit off.
No, Jay, I'm 46 and that ain't happening. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I ain't got to worry about it. There's still hope. I appreciate that, Hank, because these brothers, I don't know if it's the youth, Cal.
They like prices, baby.
Yeah,
trying to look in. Right.
Let's go and get this show started. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. Welcome to LAPEEF-ING Sundays. Again, we are taking over Atlanta, April 5th and 6th. That link is pinned to the top of the chat. And also in the description, shout out to the sponsor, Teach Hanley. You guys seen the thumbnail. And shout out to Pivot Podcast. They had Omar. Damn, I forgot his name. Omari Harwick. There we go. Harwick. Omari Harwick was on there. Shout out to Jay. I did pin it prior to Jay sending it to me. but it was a great interview. I enjoyed it from front to start, and them guys are doing some great things. So shout out to them over there. But we're gonna break down a lot of what was said on there, basically everything that was said on there. But I did ask the panel prior to us starting the show who all watched Power, and I think that Kelly said she didn't. Right? Who else said they didn't? And you said Amber said she didn't. That's unfortunate for you guys because it's an awesome show, just like Ozark. Those are two shows that I do not understand how people are not watching. I don't even watch TV like that, so it says a lot when it comes to me. Shout out to Linus for the damn, what the fuck did I click? I'm fucking up over here. Good afternoon. Special Memorial Day to Amber, Kelly, Dads, Logic, and Quest. I wasn't on that list, but okay. Shout out to Lioness for the $20 super chat.
I think it's a given. It's your show.
Okay.
It's for the people that serve.
Oh, that's right. Okay. See,
They
I got
are only
emotional. I got
served.
emotional. I'm sorry.
He only served burgers at the Burger King. That's what he's used to serve. He ain't never served in the army, the
Where's the
military.
shots fired?
I don't even know how to take this energy that's coming right
See
now.
what Jay Allen's shirt said. It
Go
said
back in my
so he
shell.
was serving more than just
It's
Burger
a little
King.
heavy. It's too much
I
right
just
now.
said it's for the military.
He got that Zaddy shirt. He's serving more than customers, baby.
Anyhow, we're moving on. So Power is a great show, and I do want to break down the character, right? The character of Ghost, James St. Patrick, and Jamie. Ghost, James St. Patrick, and Jamie. I know those names ring a bell for some of you guys. I even seen some eyebrows wake up. It was said on the show that they never seen a guy like Ghost. They never seen a guy like Ghost, and that's what the panelists said when they was talking to Omari. So I want to get you guys' thoughts about Ghost, the character.
I think when he was talking about how he had to tap into his vulnerability to make the character bigger. You know what I mean? To make it believable. It's almost like the stuff that he's hidden and he's got away with hiding about himself, like his insecurities and all of that. He had to really like tap into that to make the character better. You know what I mean? And I think to an extent, men deal with that, having to juggle being who people want us to be and still satisfying who we feel we should be, or who we want to be versus who everybody expect us to be. You know what I mean? I think that's a common balancing act. You know, some people the bad takes over, some people the good takes over to the point where they're living for everybody else. You know, so I think his explanation of that, I think it was excellent, man.
Yeah. Not so much of what he was trying to pour into the character, but just the character itself. Like when you seen Ghost, St. Patrick and Jamie, that character as a whole, like what were your thoughts about it? Just seeing, because as I stated before, they said they never seen anybody like Ghost.
I thought of an alpha, yo, like just a sharp brother in a suit, you know what I'm saying? Looking to handle business, man.
So I think that Ghost, what's different about Ghost is Ghost was a bad guy that you couldn't help but like because he was also a good guy. And I like how Omari talked about that as well. Like there's no one that can't like identify with Ghost because while he was a bad guy, he was a good guy. So I think that that is really telling to like his character and why the series went on for so long.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it seemed like of the three parts of his personality, that one was the most in control. You know, everyone in terms of the street that spoke about Ghost, you know, was always from a place of fear, respect, or whatever it was. So when you saw him in that avenue, it always felt like that was the part of him that, you know, was the most control, was the most feared, was the most, you know, had everyone kind of doing his bidding. And I feel like the Jamie part was a bit of, you know, as an extension of Ghost, because the vulnerability that he had with, I forget what her name was, the Angela, just that was pretty much him still kind of being Ghost. It wasn't so much him being James St. Patrick. It was more of a Ghost in the bedroom was Jamie. And since James St. Patrick was the family man and the vulnerable person who was trying to really get rid of Ghost and Jamie. So I felt like of the two, the Ghost character probably had the least to lose, which is why he was also the most feared and most controlled as far as how I saw it.
Yeah, I didn't see his Ghost as a good guy. There wasn't nothing good about the Ghost when he was Ghost. Because you know when he was Ghost, he's going for your neck. Tomorrow's is not promised for the individual that he's going to face up with it when he's Ghost. Now, when he was Jamie, you know, he was more calm and collective because he was with Angela. He wasn't violent when it came to Angela. He never really got violent. He got upset and yelled at her one time, but he wasn't a violent type, you know. But when he was with Ghost, he was straight killer, you know. With James, he just put on that facade, you know, between he was like Jamie and Ghost all in one, but you know, trying to keep it all the way respectable and cordial in the midst of whatever he's doing. But hey, that Ghost character was an asshole. I wouldn't want to deal with when he was Ghost.
Right. Hey, Miss Courtney, Michelle, what are your thoughts about it? About the character Ghost, St. Patrick, Jamie. It don't really matter at this point who you're looking at, but as a whole, just when you saw it, what were your immediate thoughts about Ghost?
I think it spoke to the duality of people. I think when he was Ghost, I mean, he was a bad guy. He sold drugs. He murked folks. And him becoming or trying to be Jamie, trying to put more focus on the nightclub, maybe even going into a whole nother relationship where he's able to be the man that he really wants to be. It was the duality. It's him wanting to do better, him making a whole lot of mistakes, whether he understood how those mistakes was detrimental to the society or whatnot. He wanted to change. And then it also spoke to how people in your life cannot want you to change and put things in act so you can't, or put you in situations where you have to revert back to the old person that you wanted or that you were, but don't want to be anymore. So I think the Jamie and the Ghost was really the duality that a lot of us have in us. The trying to be better, but knowing your surroundings, how you put yourself, that you put yourself in can bring you back. And also the consequences. You trying to be better, well, you still have to deal with those consequences of being Ghost. And you got murked.
All right, I'm gonna go to.
I didn't see the show, but I asked my sister
okay.
this morning. She
well,
said,
hold on. I was going to ask you guys, particularly Amber and Kelly, because I know you guys have not seen the show. Before you ask your sister, I know everybody was talking about power, and based off what everybody was saying, what were your thoughts? And then you can go into what you asked about this morning. Did you hear anything? Were you guys hearing his character before you haven't seen it, but did you have an idea of who he might have been based off what you heard?
You can go ahead, Kelly. You were talking. You can go ahead.
So I've heard people mention the show, but I don't watch television, so it's very rare that I'll see a show at all. But as I was saying, I did ask my sister this morning, and she said, "You haven't seen Power?" She's like, "Shame on you." So that is what I'll be doing this evening since I'm off tomorrow. I'll have to binge watch Power. But she said that when she said the type of man that he was, she said he had a commanding presence. He was respected wherever he went. You couldn't help but to notice who he was. And she said, she said he was that bad guy that everyone couldn't help but love. And she said you rooted for him even though he was the bad guy. And she said, like, if you didn't F with the show, she's like, you F with him and you're gonna watch it just to see him. And I don't know how many people have seen it, but apparently something happens at the end and you're wondering if he's still going to be a part of it, and everybody's kind of waiting for his return. That's what she said. So, I don't know if that's right. I'll find out tonight.
What about you, Amber? What are your thoughts about it?
So I am guilty. I've never watched the show. However, I kind of kept up with it, especially Facebook. Everybody's posting the episodes, their soliloquies and things like that. But I listened to the video twice, specifically because I never watched the show. And when he said, like, we've never seen a ghost, and Omari's like, yes, you have. your ghost, our grandfather.
Hold on. Don't get into that yet.
Okay.
Moving.
But I mean, but that's based on my answer. So I guess I shouldn't answer that right now.
No, just in general. I mean, and my apologies, but I do like to kind of build into that point. But
Okay.
yeah. So I mean, based off what you heard, you know, he was a great man, would you say?
Based on what I heard and what I've seen in the comments, as far as just throughout the years, that a lot of men can relate to him. Like kind of what Courtney said, the duality of even just being a human being, of doing what you have to do versus wanting to be a good person, but this other personality or this other persona is getting you the results you want, which means you're going to foster different relationships. So what I saw throughout the years is a lot of brothers can relate to ghosts more than I guess James St. Patrick.
And you know one thing, JR, the one thing about the show Ghost, he tried to change his ways, his name, he tried to come up out of that lifestyle. Yet the person
you're moving a little too fast, boy.
My bad.
Well, he's watched the show, so
I would actually disagree a little bit, Hank. You know, because that was the James St. Patrick that was doing that. If we're gonna use this analogy, Ghost. I mean, you couldn't, like, he was the power figure. Nothing else goes. The James St. Patrick person and the Jamie from high school that him and Angela were together. Like, that's how the show starts, with them like being like high school sweethearts and whatnot. And but Ghost is like, you can't out finesse Ghost. You can't, you know, he can't be killed. The only reason why the show ended the way it did, and people are saying, did he die or is he around, is because Ghost can't be killed. You know what I mean? He's all of his demands are going to be met, you know, throughout the show. Whatever he needed to have happen, for the most part, you know, of course they had the drama and whatnot in it, but all the things that he demanded usually happened. You know, he was always on the hunt for a different angle. He was always trying to make all these different things happen, and he would approach each situation as Ghost. He wasn't really approaching them as like a James St. Patrick character. I feel like those other two pieces of him were really not him. The Ghost character was really him, because that was the part who got the most done.
Yeah, but I didn't get to finish it because I was going over the line. So I got recommended about supervisor.
I do want to get Avon's point of view. Jay, did you speak on it yet? Did I miss anybody? I'm sorry.
No. Well, when Avon comes back before then, I think it's interesting that we're talking as if he wasn't the same character. It's, well, Ghost is this and Jamie is this. But it was the same person. It was the same character.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and just say it then, because that moved me into my next point, but I'll come back to this. In there, you are correct that he is the same person. And one of the things that he said was that that we all got a little ghost in us, right? And I thought that was kind of interesting for him to say, because what did he say? He said Jamie and Ghost was trying to become St. Patrick. And so when you look at our lives, and I thought this was interesting, because most people only show you what they want you to see. So even though we can say Ghost is in all of us, which it probably is, we don't necessarily see Ghost up in most people. We don't necessarily see a different character, so to speak. But it may very well be the fact that we do have a lot of some of everybody in us, but we just don't show it. We may show it behind closed doors. We may show it when nobody's looking, when we grieving. We only see good character, so to speak, because that's what we want to show everybody, right? I hope I said that correctly, because I'm looking at my notes and they're all over the place. Am I saying it correctly? I mean, y'all can.
You're making sense.
Yeah,
What you're saying
your points make sense.
You know, we only want to show the Jamie side. A lot of us, we have a lot of things in us, but what we want to portray is always going to be the Jamie, not the Ghost. The Ghost is, you know, maybe hidden or not what we want everyone to see of us. However, it is still in us. Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah.
No, okay.
I feel like the Ghost character is
to show the Jamie side to the ladies that we're involved with, and maybe the James St. Patrick side to the public more so than anything. And we try to keep that ghost side of us, hidden, and
So
hopefully it don't
just
have to come out.
to be clear, because I've never seen the show. Ghost was when he was selling drugs. Jamie's what his lady calls him, and James St. Patrick is the businessman. Is that?
Jamie is what his girlfriend called him.
The
side
side piece, the side
Yeah.
chick called him Jamie.
Yeah,
Who he went to high school with.
His wife called him Ghost too. So that's what I was going to kind of speak on, but I know. And Jamie's what everybody else called him outside of in a professional world.
Well, James St. Patrick was, I think, the professional.
James St. Patrick,
Ghost was the killer, and
But
Jamie was the
that's what
affectionate that Angela called him.
Yeah,
That was her boo. That
Ghost
was Jamie.
all his close friends call him, which was Tommy and his wife and some of his connects. Yeah.
The folks he was murking the people with.
Yeah, Jamie. Only one person called him Jamie. That was
Angela.
Okay.
Yeah, but she called him Jamie because she's the one that I think maybe knew him the longest.
Yes.
Yeah, in the show they went to high school together.
Yeah,
so that was like her intimate nickname for him.
Yeah. So before this St. Patrick, it was Jamie at the beginning when they grew up in, I guess, high school or whatever it was. And
Jamie and Tommy knew.
So he had a wife, but he really loved Angela. Is that
right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. But I feel like the ghost part of people is, in real life, that's the part that gets you into trouble. It might kind of look strong, but depending on, I guess, how it manifests itself. But it's hard. It takes a lot of courage, really, to be a ghost throughout your entire life all the time, because he would face his challenges head on. He would be in confrontations with people head on. He would make demands as ghosts head on. So it's hard to be that kind of person. It's easy to be Jamie because Jamie is a safer pick. You play by the rules. Or easier to be like a James St. Patrick or a Jamie, because those are safer routes where you don't get into confrontations with people. You kind of allow, the Lorenz Tate character to, kind of talk or do whatever he has to do to get his donations and, fulfill his own ambitions. Well, sometimes he had to deal with that as Ghost. Sometimes he had to deal with that as James St. Patrick. And I really just think that it's easier in life to be a James St. Patrick because there's no confrontation. There's no law breaking, there's no none of that. So I think that's why you don't see that in a lot of people, because we're not raised to be courageous like that and deal with confrontation like that. We're raised to, be more get along and go along than anything else.
I think the ghost part of everybody it just varies. You could have somebody that was raised one way and their ghost side could be shoving somebody, or defending themselves just flat out, whatever their rough side is or whatever their tough side or courageous side is, for somebody else. And then it's the age you are, like we may still have those thoughts at this age. I'm sure there's certain things you go through in life or, at this stage, whether it be at work or, things in public that happen where you're like, man, I should have knocked this guy out, or yo, this dude is really trying to steal some money from you. He's trying to be slick, where you use logic, and you think about the bigger picture, whether your family, okay, if I do this, what are the consequences? And am I willing to live with them? Am I willing to be away from my family, my wife, my kids, my parents who are aging? Am I willing to be away from that and just let them be what they are without me? When you're younger, you're hot-headed, you more, you a gunslinger. So I think everybody's ghost varies based upon the environment and what was instilled in them.
But I feel like people are layered individuals, and everybody shouldn't get to see every part of you. Like there should be levels to how close you let someone into your life. Like so not everyone doesn't get to see the Jamie side or the ghost side. Like that's for particular people.
Well, I mean, so I ask a question. Do you think that when you have demands for your life or your career or whatever it is, do you make those demands in a confrontational way, into the universe, I'll ask, like, I demand that I am going to walk a certain path, and whoever is
I
going to be an
think the
obstacle
word
is going to have to do it.
confrontational is used incorrectly a lot of times. Like confrontation just means you confront the issue. So how I was raised, my father always painted it like this: like if you're at the table, all confrontation is two people coming to the table to confront the issue. Like, this is what's on the table. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. It doesn't have to be a fight. It could just be, let's have this discussion about this issue. It's just not letting it be pushed to the side and no one addresses it. So I don't see confrontation as a bad thing. I guess I'm confrontational because I don't mind addressing an issue if it brings resolve.
Because some people aren't like that. Some people at the first sign of adversity, they more go along with whatever the stronger wind is. They don't stand in it and really deal with it. A lot of people are just like, okay, well, if you have a better idea, they'll just go with that, versus a ghost mentality where it's, no, I have this idea, I have this vision, and it is going to be executed by any means. And so is that really a way that people can expect to live? Or is that just, Hollywood? Or, because I feel like you are right that people are layered, but in the ideal situation, we're all making demands and making sure that they are executed if they're good ideas. And so I imagine, is that a way that we should live 100% of the time, just steadfast in our own vision?
I think that's how it should be. But no one's going to do that. I would say someone like JR is like a ghost. Like, he's innovative. He steps outside of his comfort zone. He does things that other people aren't willing to do. He'll work hard, but not everybody wants to do that. They go to work, they clock in, they come home, and they do their life. They don't take steps to be better or greater or always achieving new goals and following their dreams. That's just rare. So.
Different situations call for different ways of handling it. If that's what you're talking about, like confronting somebody, it's all about tone and delivery, about everything you do, for real. So,
but when people say confrontation, they always make it sound like it's a fight. It doesn't have to be a fight. If me and you disagree about something, it's like, okay, can we talk about this? It doesn't have to be, I'm so mad at you, let's fight about it. Like, that's how people make confrontation sound. Just like, okay, you don't like this, I don't like this, how can we resolve it? That's confrontation, but it's a peaceful confrontation.
Well, let's say here's a different example. Let's say you're going to buy a car. You want to buy this car at this price. The dealership is trying to sell it to you at this price.
Oh, that's
some people, well, right. And so when you negotiate, are you going to negotiate from a position of strength and you are not coming off of what you want? Or are you going to be more prone to allow whoever it is to sell you on their point? And so I think that's the character that we're trying to break down between the person who does not move off of their point versus the person who's willing to negotiate just in life.
Yeah, so well, like that a person who like lets life happen versus making life happen. Like, is that
right, by any means. Because
sometimes Courtney.
Vision could be. Yeah, go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah, well, those two people definitely exist, but that's the difference with being a leader and being a follower. So a leader is going to make things happen. They're going to be able to have confrontation. Again, I'm with Kelly. Confrontation is not a negative thing. In order for things to happen, you have to confront things. In order for change to happen, you have to confront things. So even like with the car dealership thing, when I bought my car, I brought a man with me because I know that I couldn't negotiate or be as a dick that I wanted to be to try to get the price that I want and or anything, leasing percent or whatnot. So let a man handle it that had the qualities, I guess, of like a ghost who wasn't, no, this is what's going to happen. Now what? So, but I love those attitudes. That's a leader to me. Someone that's not going to be swayed by not or being scared to confront something. No, head that up. You got it. And that's confidence.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what made James St. Patrick and Ghost. I mean, I think they both had the exact same qualities. It's just one used it more professionally and one used it to be a little bit more violent to get what he wanted. But the essence of being a leader and knowing what I want, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it. That's what I respect that out of. I mean, it's the same person, but the Ghost and the St. Patrick. I respect that of him, and that's why he was highly respected.
Hey, Avon, I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't mute your mic. Can you mute? I don't know what's going on. It's just Cal, make sure we mute before we bring him up because he got some lawnmower action going on back there.
His auntie came in. I said, "What's auntie doing?"
That's why he went out. Okay.
Yeah, y'all see auntie.
Actually, you want some ribs? Y'all want a plate?
She was about to offer us a little barbecue.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. There was also something he said too, was that we are the master of our fate. Nobody else is. Let's speak on that.
I mean, again, you know, that kind of goes along with what we were just saying about ghosts and making demands and making sure they're executed. You know, some people can kind of take their life in their own hands and just, you know, when they put the work in, you know, a lot of that kind of attitude takes a lot of work, unseen, unheard work every day. But when you come and bring that work ethic out to the world, I feel like you can make people bend to whatever your will is, as long as you know what you're talking about, you have a plan to execute, whatnot. So, I mean, yeah, we all have the strength to change our lifestyle and change our circumstances. We just have to drum up the strength and the, you know, and the gumption and the bravery and courage to really make, you know, the world bend around what it is that you want to have happen.
I think whatever you want in life, you can have it. You just have to be willing to work for it. There's like people always say they're not happy in their life, but they're miserable. I'm like, well, change it. What do you want? And start like making a list and taking steps to get to that place that you feel like will make you happy. There's nothing stopping you but you.
I think damn, I just lost that train of thought.
I'm sorry.
No. You good. I think when he was talking about identifying his path versus somebody else, because, you know, he used to be a football player and he was sitting there with a bunch of football players that came in during his year, maybe a little after him, you know, those were his colleagues, so to speak. And he was like, you know, when they became football players, you know, they got that big money right away. So he's looking at his colleagues like, damn, they got these big paychecks. And, you know, I'm doing this acting thing and I'm literally dead broke. You know what I mean? Like my woman's holding me down. So I guess acknowledging that somebody else's path is definitely not your path. Somebody could get the peak. Somebody can reach their peak at 22. Boom. That's as good as it's gonna get for them. And you looking at them like, damn, they 22 years old. They got the best life. After that little 22, 23-year-old run, yo, like it's downhill. You might get your peak at 49. You know, you never know, but it's like you still got to kind of remain diligent because your time is coming. If you're laying the groundwork and you're doing the things that you need to be ready for it when it comes. And I think that's the other thing. Like you could sit around and it come and you just wither it away because you weren't prepared for it.
And another thing, man, let that be a source of motivation. I mean, don't be that type that get jealous and envious of somebody and want to start hating on them. Don't do that. Let that be a means of motivation to motivate you even more so. So, hey, I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to keep grinding and I'm going to do what I got to do to get where I need to get to. You know, don't use that for a reason just to give up. Man, they made it. I don't feel like I can't. No, that's not how it goes, man. Just keep working, keep moving forward.
You know, that's my favorite quote. I'm sorry, Courtney.
No. Well, I just wanted to check something kind of in the comments because someone said a killer cannot be a leader. Yes, they can. You can lead something positively or negatively, but a leader is someone that's able to control a group and get them to do what they want to do. It can be positive as Martin Luther King, or it can be as negative as Hitler. So a leader doesn't mean that it's something good that they're leading the folks to, but it's also something that can be negative. But it's that the charisma of a man, it's the strength, the confidence of a man that is able to lead. And that within itself is being a master of our fate. You have to be a leader. You have to have those characteristics to be able to understand what you want and to go for it. I know we kept talking about me and Kelly with confrontation doesn't have to be a bad thing and it can be hostile, but it also is an aggressive form of getting what you want or, you know, confronting someone. But again, being aggressive, I don't think it's negative. Sometimes you have to be aggressive to get what you want. And I don't know. If you really want to make it out in this world, it's going to take some gumph to do it and not just sitting on the sideline and letting life pass you by. And if that's what you want as your fate, this is how you want to live your life on the sidelines, then shut up and be quiet and just follow along. But if you want to be something special in this world, it's going to take confrontation. It's going to take charisma. It's going to take being a leader. And it's going to take sometimes letting family go, letting some friends go, which I think he tried to do as Ghost to become James St. Patrick. So yeah, that's what I think.
You know, Leviticus, that is my favorite quote. I am the master of my soul. I am the master of my fate, captain of my soul. I was just talking to somebody about divine timing, and it connects the dot what Omari said, how, he references being on the football team, seeing his friends, his brothers go to heights in the NFL, and he's sleeping in his car. So, but look where he's at right now on their podcast, eloquently. I didn't even know he was an amazing storyteller and amazing poet, but his divine timing and him surrendering to it, because if you notice, he said early on at the lunch table, he's God's child first. He was so spiritually in tune with who he was and who God's child was, that now look where he's at right now. And I think that's just a beautiful testament to all of us, that what is yours, but we cannot determine the timing. But that goes into surrendering and faith into the higher source. So I'm just like such a fan of his, way more now since the interview.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I think Courtney might have mentioned it. Sitting on the sideline is taking your fate into your own hands too. Inactivity is still an action. And so, we might think that taking our lives into our own hands always means that it's for the more productive life and the more positive life. But our lives are in our hands regardless of what we're really doing. So if we choose to take that life and just sit and watch everyone else go by because it's safer and, less strenuous over here, I mean, that's still taking your life into your own hands. You're just kind of taking it nowhere. So I think that we're going to always be the master of our fate. It just depends on where we're actually trying to go. If we're trying to go nowhere, then our fate is going to be to go nowhere. So
sometimes, Kyle, just to give you pushback, sometimes you don't know if you were given the assignment to sit and wait for a reason. There's times where we pray for things or want something so bad, but if we would have got it at the time, we probably would have blown that opportunity because we wasn't mature enough to handle it. So sometimes sitting and waiting and being patient is actually for your own good.
Well, and I agree. But to go on top of that, there's still work to be done within that wait. You may be waiting your turn to have, the quote unquote spotlight put on you, or at least be seen as some kind of role model. But there's still going to be work needed that, like Jay said, you may not hit your stride till you're 49, but from 30 to 49, you still got to put that work in. That way, when your time comes, you'll be able to be that expert and be that source of, a motivation for people, versus it being some kind of flash in the pan, like not even really your time. You just caught lightning in the bottle briefly, and as quick as it came, it went away. A lot of times when you do the work quietly, that's when you really reap the benefits later on. Because again, you could just a person could be a customer service coordinator for their entire lives, so that's in itself kind of sitting on the sideline, just kind of allowing all your peers who have gone on to be directors and, business owners or whatever it is. And you at 45 are still a customer service coordinator. You got the same role you've always had when you were 19. So even if the money's good, you're still just kind of sitting on the sideline watching life.
But some people don't desire more.
I was about to say,
they're happy in that.
That's true. But they're taking their lives into their own fate to that point, Kelly. That's what they want. So that's where they're taking themselves. So my point is, we always have control over what's going on in our lives.
I want to clarify when I say wait, that doesn't mean be inactive. Sometimes you have to sit and wait. And what is your attitude during that wait? Are you still cheering people on? Are you in a space of gratitude? Are you in school while everybody's graduating? So sitting and waiting is not just sitting on your ass and waiting for an opportunity to present itself. But sometimes, good example, my photography mentor told me, there's a reason there is a pilot and a co-pilot. The pilot shouldn't be mad that the co-pilot is happy being a co-pilot, because we don't know if that's their assignment for that moment. What is that co-pilot's attitude? Are they doing the best job to assist the pilot? Are they good service? Are they a good assistant? And are they happy in it? Then maybe one day they may want to be a pilot, or they're completely happy being a co-pilot, and they're going to get that blessing within that field.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes, some people are just not ready to receive it this yet, and they're just not. So sometimes you need to be sitting on the sideline, because sometimes you need to be humble. You know what I'm saying? And when you need to be humble, that sideline is always the best way to teach and train and educate some people. And if it takes you years to sit on that sideline and to wait and to be ready for your heart to receive whatever blessings the Lord has to give you, then that's what it is. But not everybody's ready to receive it at the moment. I mean, it doesn't make them a bad person, I don't think. That's just my opinion. But they're just not ready for it just yet. But when they are, it's going to pop for them. It doesn't mean you stop working, just like what Kelly and Courtney and I was saying. You still got to continue to work. You still got to continue to do what you need to do to get better.
So I had a coworker one time. I worked with her almost a decade ago, and she had been in the same. She managed one of the doctor's offices, and she'd been in the same place for 20 years. I was in and out of there within like 2. And she was like, "Yeah, people like you, Shani, you're gonna go places, but I'm just happy. I like my world. It's like she liked the dependability and consistency of just where she was. And she never wanted to move outside of that. She was just happy going to work, going home, hanging with her husband and her dogs. And that was her life. And she never wanted it to change. She liked that comfort, I guess.
For some people though, that's depending on your upbringing or what your family history is, that's an upgrade. You know what I mean? She could have come from a place of struggle. I mean, not to make any assumptions, of course, but just to say, for some people, that regular, stable kind of a lifestyle is eons better than how they grew up. They might have grew up in an unstable environment. They might not have known where their next paycheck was coming from, or they might not have known where their next meal was coming from. So to now live a life where you kind of mastered whatever skills you need to be able to provide a certain kind of lifestyle for you that is going to ultimately be healthy, which is a roof over your head, steady paycheck, meals and whatnot, comfortable bed to lay in at night. That might be where she wanted to take her life.
Mastering her fate.
Right. Because, the rest of her family could be strung out on drugs. They could be maybe not getting along, miserable people. You never know what a person's experience has been. So just to that point, I'm not mad at anybody who's a coordinator for their whole lives. But if you secretly really want to be a director and you always say to yourself, man, I could do that person's job, or, that person don't know what they're doing, and yet and still you sit on the sideline as a coordinator, that is where people say, well, you could take your fate in your own hands and do the things you need to do to become that person if you got a lot to say about it. And so you just got to put the work in. That way, when your opportunity does come, you don't fumble it the way maybe Hink was talking about in terms of receiving the opportunity to do it.
Well, people like that does shit like that, they lame. So, man, the hell with that. You're going to sit there and just criticize, critique somebody, but you're not willing to do the job, then shut the hell up.
That happens a lot.
I think with Ghost and the St. Patrick and the Jamie, I think it's interesting in his character is that when he was Jamie, he became Ghost. And he became Ghost because he wanted a particular lifestyle. He wanted the power. He wanted all of the beautiful houses, the children going to private schools. Like, this is all he wanted. And he got it. And it took some lives and he got it the wrong way. But all of that a lot of people are striving for monetarily, he got. And then when he got there, like, he kind of saw, like, you know what? Angela makes me feel like how I probably haven't felt because I had to grind. I had to do all this. And then Angela, being back to Jamie, and I want to be the St. Patrick where I can travel. He wanted to travel with her and do a lot of the things that when we're on this grind and bag chasing and money loving, that we're not able to have. So it's a lot of times that we as people, when we get that to a pinnacle and we're looking at it and the things that we missed out because we were striving to get this, we're striving to be the director. And then we revert back to understanding that the most valuable things that we have that we lost was the time trying to chase it, was the family time that I missed because I had to work, was me loving on my husband or my wife, but I couldn't do that because I'm out in these streets. So I think even with Jamie and the duality of him, it was he got there, but then kind of realized when he got there, it's like, this ain't what it is. Like, I need more. And that more that he needed, I don't think was money. He needed that affection. He needed that love. He wanted to be more vulnerable. He wanted to be, again, like everybody else. And that normalcy, I think, doesn't get the credit that it deserves.
Do you think that you have to like change yourself to become that person? Is that do you have to lose part of an old self to become this new version? Because even to Omari Harwick, the actor's point, he was kind of this nice guy throughout his life. He was a method actor, all the way up until I think he was on Being Mary Jane. But before that, he was just a guy who, was just on a bunch of random things as like a stand-in, or he might have had a line or two. That's probably why he was broke.
He was in videos.
Right. So, right. He was in music videos. So you figure he even talked about in the interview, like having to go to another level mentally, like having to go psychotic in order to be the best version of yourself. So does that then mean that you have to pretty much get rid of a part of yourself to then become this greater part of yourself?
Well, hold on, Kyle. We're not gonna skip over how happy Courtney got when she said something about that man being on Marsh and shoulders kind of moved. Look at her. She got happy.
Being Mary Jane. Yeah, you saw her face.
That's the first show I ever saw him on.
It's a beautiful man. Okay. It's a beautiful man.
He was on there.
Hey, look, the bad part about it is the same person in that series that should have been on the side and encourage him to want to make a change and been all for him was the same person trying to keep him in the mud, and that was his wife, Tasha. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they what's his chaotic, whatever his name is. I'm glad he's not here because he would talk bad about that lady. He was that dark-skinned woman trying to bring him down. I'm mad he would tear her ass up right now if he was here. But yes, she was the main one. No, I don't want you to go straight. I don't want you to lead that lifestyle. I love living like this. I love the drug money. You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't trying to uplift him. She was trying to keep him down in the goddamn mud. And that's sad, but it's just unfortunate. That's what he was married to. And I think that's why he was pushing so hard to get away from her. Because he wanted to change his life and wanted to do something different. And then, of course, eventually he wanted to get into politics. And she was fighting tooth and nail on wanting him to do that. So
hey, but that happens all the time. I mean, it's a lot of people that fuck with you for their own personal gain. I mean, that's just what it is. And we're talking about this. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Courtney.
Well, I wasn't going to push back, but I wanted to dive in just real quick because I think you made a great observation. But I think when they got married, he was ghost. And so the marriage was under the pretenses is that this is my husband and I'm attracted to my husband being ghost. And she was a little ghost. She murked him too. She had her daycare, money laundering. So she was under the pretenses of marrying a man that was like her and wanted to grow in that aspect. Then he flipped it.
But he always said there was eventually going to be an end game. He said it all the time when you're watching the series. He always talked about there's going to be an end game, and the end game's going to be something else. And that's the reason why he wanted multiple clubs to open this money cleanly, and wanted they had the laundromat and all that to do all of that. So he eventually had an end game. She just wasn't with it. She was with the fast life, the lavish life, and that's all she wanted. She didn't care about living clean. She didn't care about that. Matter of fact, she tried to, sabotage the man. And Jay, I know you said it happens all the time, unfortunately, that's that man's wife. It ain't just some girlfriend.
But
That's
Quentin's
his
made a
wife.
really good point.
Sad.
So I'm hearing everybody. This is just from seeing all the comments on Facebook throughout the years. Everybody hated Tasha, but they attracted each other because they were the same person.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he flipped it, right?
Yeah, he did. He did.
So
He
why
did.
was she being villainized? Like, this is not the man I married. This is what we've been doing since day one. What the fuck you talking about?
But
Because
he always
y'all are
talked
like
about it in
50
game,
years
though.
old.
He always talked
Yeah.
about it in game.
Okay.
It wasn't gonna be always like this, and he told her that. He shared that. I mean, but but if that's my wife, you need to roll with my program, and if not, then he did what he had to do. I would have left probably a long time ago. Once I implement this in your area, and it's obvious you're not looking to move in a certain direction I'm trying to move, and I see I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to leave you at the restaurant.
And see, the thing is, she would empower the part that he hated about himself. You know what I mean? Like, he was trying to be more Jamie St. Patrick and more Jamie. She would empower and influence the ghost. Like, ghost, they don't do that to you, or you don't let them talk to you like that. She was amping him up to go and do more from that side that she loved. But my thing is, like, when you're in that life, there has to be an end game. If you don't set up an end game, the game is gonna end you. And he know that. I mean, that's with anything. The mobs, you gotta have an end game. You know what I'm saying? People have laundromats and wash money for a reason, because eventually we have to create legitimate business out of this, because this is not sustainable.
Can you even be the master of your fate in a situation like that, where you're in a relationship, somebody's gassing you up to kind of be this person, even though that person was productive, got the stuff done? They're trying to keep you in this lane. Somebody else is trying to keep you in their lane, and then you got your own ambitions. Can you even control your own fate when you got so many people having an influence on your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I deal with it every day. There are people in my ear that give me suggestions on what to do with the network. They constantly, you need to do this, you need to have that. What people don't know is, in the very beginning, the reason it became a network is because people were trying to tell me what to do with a lot of people that's talking. I said, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and create some other shows that people may like. I didn't want to change what was going up on a lot of people that's talk, because there was so many people that had input as far as what they wanted to see. The lot of people that's talk show is not for everybody. And that's what I tell you. If you don't have to watch it, but people will look at that, complain, why I need to do this, need to do that, but then they still watch. And the one thing that I learned is that no matter what you do in life, nobody is going to 100% agree with it. It's going to always be somebody that's saying something against it. And so that's why you got to do you. A lot of people may ask, like, they asking me, like, what is it? Somebody in the comments was like, he too quiet or something like that, because I'm a creator. That's like my fate, is to create. I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I don't have to be in front of the camera so much. I just like to create. There's so many things that I do behind the scenes that people don't realize that I do, because I'm creating. I'm staying in my lane. And I gave some advice to somebody that wanted to do YouTube. And one of the things I told him, I said, have you ever considered something else? Because it's just not popping. No matter how hard you come up, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do you're doing what everybody else is doing, and you're not doing what it is that you should be doing. You ever thought about doing a tech channel? You ever thought about doing like a children's book channel? I don't know, anything else but this. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Do what makes you feel great. You can still be on YouTube. It just might not be dating and relationships. But if that's something that you truly want to do, then do it. So absolutely, you can create. You can determine your own fate. You just got to take control of it.
So with the people who are in your ear, how long do you allow them to be around before you cut those people off with, because you have your goals in mind? Like, when do you stop taking those suggestions from people?
The one thing about me, and some people, they can say what they want to say, is that I've always said I never trust anybody 100%. I don't trust it. I don't trust my mother. I don't trust. I just leave a little bit wiggle room, because humans are not perfect. So you can never 100% trust anybody in this world. I don't care if they're your children. And that's just how I think. So everybody that's around me, I don't consider everybody a friend. because that's one of the words that's just thrown around too. Like you got to understand why people may be around you at that time, and some people are seasonal. So with that being said, like you take the input, but it's where you put it at. You know, you could take in information, but you don't have to react to it right away. You could take in information and you can take some time to process it. That's the beauty of being able to have a mind and being able to think, is that you don't have to, you can respond on your own terms. And so you have a lot of people that just move around in this world and they just be responding like that without thinking. And because we are flawed and we're not perfect, our responses may not be perfect. There's possibility we may be responding and doing certain things that we don't even realize that we're doing. So when I take in all this information about how humans are, and I just say humans because we all have they are female, there's a female nature, there's a man nature, but then we also had a human nature that people don't factor in as well. And because I understand how people move and I'm learning every day, I'm always a student of life and I constantly say that, then you can't really you could take in information, but you get to determine what you do with that information. So you don't have to put it there just because somebody else put it there. So hopefully I'm making sense sometime.
Let me ask you a question, JR. Do you trust yourself?
With you.
Yeah.
You do?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's all I had.
Yeah.
I like that though, that people, you said people are seasonal. I like that.
I mean, but what he said was real. You can trust, man. It's a tough thing to ask of a person, you know what I'm saying? Because you putting everything into a person, then all of a sudden they fail you. Man, it's kind of hard to deal with the situation after to do it again. So what he's saying is real. I mean, but before you ask that question, you shit, that's the only person you can't trust 100%.
But you trust people to be who they are. I always say numbers never lie, but if and when they do, always revert back to patterns. If you pay attention and watch people close enough, they literally typically over time show a similar pattern, and you trust them to be who they are. But that comes in with free will. You know, my spiritual mentor told me this one day. I was rambling about some bullshit. She was like, how about you stay on your side of the street and feed your own autonomy? I didn't even know what autonomy was, so I looked it up, and it was freedom. If you stay on your side of the street, feed your autonomy, free your free will, you will respect and honors others. That's also in the 4 agreement about not assuming or taking anything personal. So to piggyback what JR say, he's trusting human beings to be human, which at any given time can change.
You know, sometimes the battle is not us. You know, sometimes the battle is.
I said I like what Amber said.
Yeah. I was just gonna say sometimes the battle is not us, and we so quick to judge people based off them making mistakes, and human makes mistakes every day. You know, and we just may not realize it's a mistake that we're making, and until we learn that, then we're just gonna keep doing it. There's some humans that may not never learn that they constantly making mistakes, and that's cool. I don't hold them to it because in my opinion, I believe that sometimes the battle is bigger than what we see. And so sometimes it's what they need at that moment, and that's why they're reacting the way they are. And so you can try to help them. If it's draining you, then just lead them, but still respect them and keep it moving. You can't save everybody from their own self.
I agree. I don't trust people either. My father always said that you're supposed to put your trust in God, not in people.
Yeah, that's
and allow him to lead you.
I think that's one of the things he was talking about as far as when it came to his interracial dating. That he said he's here to satisfy God first, and then I think he said man second. Right? Is that what he was speaking?
Yeah, he said that he said that he was God's child first, and then second he was a black man.
Okay, I want to highlight this. Hold on, before we do, make sure you guys get the likes up. Also subscribe to the channel. Again, we are live in Atlanta. We're taking over Atlanta, August the 5th and the 6th. That link
is everyone here going?
In the chat. And
no,
I'm going.
Oh.
Jay, you going?
Staring at me like I was
Jay, you going?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Weekend, man, so I ain't gonna be able to make it.
Oh.
What was your reason?
I ain't going.
No, yes, you are.
Oh, you see? Oh, look at that face.
That's non-negotiable. You have to be there.
That's my Tasha face, baby.
That's
Hey,
work to go through.
Tasha was kind of sexy in her own crazy way, though. I ain't gonna lie to her. She was sexy in her own crazy way.
Came a long way from 3LW, yo.
She did. Oh no, she was. Oh man, she was in Notorious. Was she playing little
You saw
Kim?
her in Notorious?
Yeah, I thought she did a good job in Notorious. So.
Yeah, she
She did great.
She did real good as
What
Lil'
Lil'
Kim.
Kim was talking about. Lil' Kim.
I'm surprised they didn't give her a little spin-off movie off that. I feel like that's got to be still coming or something.
All right, I do want to speak on this comment that he said. I'm gonna try to pin it in. I'm gonna read it to you guys. But he said, Omari said, unfortunately, as bright and as quick thinking and as strong and as more powerful than women are, they still interpersonally between women don't rock out the way men interpersonally rock out. What do you guys thoughts about that?
That's true. That was a deep comment when he said that too. That's true.
I completely agree.
I know, to me, I know a lot of these YouTube channels. When you have the YouTube channel like on King's Talk, for example, man, men get together, they talk, they have, even when they don't agree, they respectfully do it. It's not in a disrespectful manner. It's not anything that's catty where people's ready to, put the gloves on, they're ready to knuckle up or nothing like that. But you go into some of these lady only panels or women only panels, it's
very
totally
catty.
Yeah, at any given moment, the calls are coming and they start acting like hyenas and they be ready to fight. Be like, I can't even watch them. And unfortunately, I want to sit there and learn what some of these ladies like and what they dislike is and what they are into, and so I can maybe practice on my next one, But
Okay.
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to deal with.
So you sit there with your notebook and you're like, oh, okay.
I'm trying, and really, I'm trying, but man, some of them, it's just totally intolerable, and I can't do it. I'm like, man, this is bullshit. I just cut it off. Now I watch Courtney Michelle's show.
That's what I'm gonna say. I like the way Courtney composes herself.
Some ladies I can watch it and it's acceptable and it's cool and I feel like I'm getting some out of it. But for the most part, man, it's just like, man, this is some bullshit. I feel like I'm watching Love and Hip Hop, on YouTube, and that's what it feels like. So you could just see the difference in how the men come together and they come, that they get along. They, even when they don't get along, they could do it in a respectful manner compared to some ladies do.
Hey Hank, I want to ask you this question: Is it the tone? Because most people, well, I won't say most, some women I know, they say that anytime they go against a man, like giving their point of view, that it's looked at as being masculine. So is it that when women are in a man's space that they can't give pushback, they can't give their opinion, or is it their delivery, their tone?
I don't have no problem if you disagree with me. I don't have no problem if you want to have I guess a good intercourse between each other. I don't have no problem with that. But when you start to the point of calling names, calling me out of my name, cursing me out, and being belligerent like that, no, then you're doing too much. Now my respect for you is gone.
Mm-hmm. So my brother and I. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
As a woman who have been canceled so many times by my quote unquote sisters, I'm going to just say, like, the whole woman. I've been saying this for years. The whole woman empowerment shit is bullshit.
They canceling you out here, Amber? What's going on?
They tried multiple times for years. I even got inducted into, the Women Professional League and still called bullshit. This is why, and I'm going to just give it up. Okay, so I'm a professional photographer. I've been shooting for 8 years. When you go to events and like a gala, y'all know photographers there, but y'all really don't pay attention to the photographer, correct? Like y'all are y'all?
No,
I do. I'm like this.
Yeah, y'all don't think about this, right?
If they look like Amber, I'm gonna see it.
The beauty of
okay.
So the beauty of being a photographer is nobody pays attention to me, but they also forget I have eyes and I have ears. So I'm at these events. I've been hired to shoot at all these women empowerment events, and I'm seeing how they treat each other. They will take a picture with each other, woman empowerment, boss her, billionaire, whatever. and I'm literally taking photos and hearing an audio of like, I can't stand this bitch. Don't let her talk too long. I am literally been seeing it for years. But then on the flip side, when I got into football photography, I'm in the locker rooms. I'm in the, when they showing videos, and I see how guys, they will go at it and they even get close to violence. But then as soon as they hit that field, it's completely different, because at the end of the day, they have a similar goal. Or what my mentor has told me is the reason men don't get into it that much because it's this close to violence, where women can just have them go back and forth. So that's what I have just seen from my end of the lens, pun intended.
I mean, I think that there's always this underlying feel of competition between women, whether it's literal in terms of over some, the men in the room, or if it's just like your socioeconomic status or whatever it is. And I think that even in those, women empowerment movements or like an event, there's still this one-upsmanship that I think is prevalent in some of these spaces, that I think that's maybe what Omari was speaking to, is that even when you're congratulating someone, you still want them to know, how you're doing too. Whereas with men, I think that those differences are so evident that they're not really focused on. Men like to try to keep everything kind of casual unless it's business related, in which case it's all business related, that we never try to mix the two up until that time comes. But I think men compartmentalize our relationships a lot better, which allow us to not allow things to get out of hand from a respect level, from a communication level. So we all could be out, I could be out with the fellas and it never get past anything disrespectful, just because no one wants to take it there. And we don't stand to benefit anything by me saying I make more money than this dude, or I think this person's bad, or whatever it is. I don't think men really stand to gain anything from that internally. Whereas I don't think anyone really does. But sometimes I find it that women will just make a comment about another woman that doesn't really amount to anything. But I always wonder, okay, why do you feel like you need to say that about somebody? Or like somebody comes in and you whisper to your friend, oh, her man is cheating on her with X, Y, and Z. She ain't shit. And it's like, okay, why did you even feel the need to say that out loud? So I really don't know what that is, because there's so much talk about the sisterhood and, Black queens and women in general coming together and supporting each other.
It's not real.
Businesses.
It's not real.
It's not. Yeah.
I mean, why is that? What are you being sold if that's not true?
The trend. Okay, it's the trend, right? So all these women, want to get into entrepreneurship and things like that. So what a lot of these women do, not all of them, what they do is they will go on YouTube or get these feel-good speeches. They'll play into other women's emotion of trying to get ahead, like generally trying to get ahead or start a business, charge them to $100 to $300 for these fake ass brunches, and then regurgitate feel-good speeches. The reason I challenge them a lot, because when I was teaching a women's photography class, I would ask them, show me your metrics. Show me the number of women who paid and took your course and they scaled a business. And when I challenged them, they couldn't do that. So it's a money grab, literally playing on the emotions of women who want to, because there are women who genuinely want the camaraderie of sisterhood, who needs a tribe, who don't have it. And a lot of these women play into it and take their money.
So I think that a lot of women are insecure and they're not confident in who they are as an individual. And when you feel that way about yourself inwardly, you it's like you portray that on others, even though they may not be thinking remotely close to what you're thinking about yourself. Like I always notice women get so surprised when I compliment them. They're like, "Oh, you think that about me?" It's like they never receive compliments from women. And I'll see women walk past each other and kind of like do the little look up and down, like, why? What are you looking at? If you like it, just say you like it. If you don't, keep it moving. Like, what are you doing? But they always like do the little, she thinks she's cute. Like, stop. If you think she's cute, just say that. And I was going to say about Courtney Michelle, I do like the way you handle yourself on your platform and on Let's Talk, because like you don't really get into the catty business. Even if you disagree, it's like, you're like, I'll wait. Okay. And then even if someone overtalks you, like, well, are you going to let me finish speaking? Can I finish? You're not like, you don't just yell and you don't like cut people off. You're like, okay, well, if you're not going to let me talk, I'll just wait. Like, you have to beg for what I'm going to. But I appreciate that about you. You don't go back and forth. It's not catty. And then it's like you wait and you're like, I'm about to hit everybody with this point, and boom, shut down. Like, no one has anything to say because you're actually thinking and you're responding to what they said versus just reacting. And it's not emotional. It's very calculated. So,
but also to go back to what Omari was saying regarding men in sports, because, I have an ex who was a football coach. Like, it's a different type of camaraderie because you have to trust that guy, specifically in football, because one wrong kick can really mess you up. Or like my dad or my son's father who was in the Army, there has to be a level of trust because literally the man to your left or right can save your life and you have to protect their life. There's a different type of energy I'm seeing amongst men, specifically when it comes to sports or,
yeah, but with activity. Men, like, they could just literally be in a bar and just start talking and be friends. Like, women, they're not like that. Oh,
I was just gonna say,
it could be this is our same sports team and we're friends now. Or,
yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, men and women, they can definitely, when the other sex isn't around, men tend to buddy up faster than women will buddy up. I went to an all boys school, and I promise you, there was only one fight in the 4 years I was there. It was so much fun being had.
I went to an all girl high school. Let me tell you something. It was a fight. Argument every day about who looked at who funny, who said this, who showed up. It was every day.
I got threatened so many times in high school to get my ass beat by girls for no reason at all.
Well, that's because of the underlying competition that y'all have, whether it's who's the cutest, who's first or second in class versus the third and fourth in class, who, if they're on a team, who's getting looked at from colleges versus who's not, who their boyfriend is, all of that stuff is what women talk about. Whereas guys,
that's because I'm sure every female has heard she thinks she cute. It's like, no, you think she's cute because you talking about it, right? You know what I mean? So I
think
agree.
When you compete with yourself, like, you don't really have time for the nonsense. It's like, how can I be better than I was yesterday? What can I do to better myself? It's not about, oh my God, look what she's doing. I gotta compete with. I don't care. I care about me and what I'm doing and where I want to go in life. It's not about, oh my God, Courtney Michelle has 7,000. I saw it recently. Congratulations, by the way. How do I get my views up like her? No, I'm happy for her. I'm proud of her. Her voice needs to be heard. If I want to do something, I'm going to do what I want to do, not competing with another person.
Hey, I want to ask Amber this. I know Amber's in Chicago, but I'm kind of seeing things different. I understand what you guys are saying, and I believe that in most cases men do this, but we have seen a lot where there's this thing in Chicago where people hate on each other, right? And I can't say women, but it'd be the men. Like, the men just be hating on each other. And it happens a lot where they don't have your best interest trying to see you elevate. It's these little cliques, and even within the cliques, like, you'll see the cliques and then you'll see them dissolve over time because it comes like somebody else is bringing more in the group and people don't want to pull their weight. They're so busy focusing on what the person that brings the more weight in is doing. And then you just see them dismantle. So I'm not really sure if it's just because I even had conversations with like fellow coworkers, and we would talk about how it seemed like the Black people don't stick together, like under the same roof. It's like 200 us that have to work side by side, and we depend on each other for safety reasons and so forth. But you will see the Black people are divided. They in like smaller cliques, but then you'll see other races, like, no matter what's going on, they will stick together. They'll stick together and they'll talk about the Blacks, which is crazy.
Right. No, sorry to cut you right. In Chicago, and I mean, we just speaking of Chicago, but Chicago is extremely cliquish. It's always Chicago's broken up, like, who's the top DJ? Well, who is the top club promoter? Who is the top artist? Who is the top fashion designer? Like, whatever sector it was always the alpha. And I saw specifically with men, they will position themselves in close proximity to whoever the alpha was, and then figure out ways to take his position or dismantle him. One thing about Chicago, you are not going to get love until you pop off in another city. And then when you come back, they show you love. But within Black Chicago, the Black elite Chicago, the Black sports Chicago. It's definitely, I saw with men, it's about who is the alpha, who's going to position himself in close proximity, which is leverage, and then literally sabotaging to take his spot.
Is that in?
Shit, somebody said it's called competing. So, like, is that competing?
I don't
No,
think
that's
so.
not competing.
No,
That's
because
not
the thing
competing.
is, competing is being the best in your lane, and you just win because of the accolades and the work you did, not focusing on sabotaging somebody else. That's not
Exactly.
competing. That's some bitch
That's
shit.
called hating. Exactly.
Right. Competing is steel sharpens steel. You know what I mean? Like if I see JR and you know what I mean is at his top level and I'm like, damn, I need to step my game up. This dude is out here working. That
Right.
means he influences me to work harder. You know what I mean? Not
Right.
I'm taking his spot. You know what I mean? Like what 50 Cent did to Ja Rule, it was fueled by hate. I mean, he knocked him off the charts, but it was fueled by hate, you know, and he ended up doing the same thing he did. So that's not necessarily competition. But I wanted to ask, if as far as women, does it change when you get older, or have you noticed it's like the same level it was in high school?
It's still high school mentality. It literally
still
has
high
not
school.
changed. I don't expect it to change.
I thought it would change when I
no.
got older. And I'm like at work with these girls and they're fighting. Like, I was like, wait, y'all haven't grown up? Like, this is a thing? You're still the same? I can't do this. I'm sorry. I can't do high school.
Once I've changed, once I have grown, once I have matured into who I'm supposed to be, my circle, specifically women, was completely different. My spiritual mentor is literally a Native American woman. I have women of different races. That's my tribe, because I literally attract like-minded women. And unfortunately, a lot of them are not sisters.
And I think with men, I don't know, and y'all can speak to this too, but with me personally, with men, it's almost like we have a hierarchy. You know, and within our groups, we have the hierarchy. Like, yo, that's the smart one. You know, if we want to gain some knowledge or learn how to do, we go to that one. If when it comes to female, oh, he gets all the women. So, you know, show me how to do that. You know what I mean? Teach me, grasshopper. You know what I mean? So that's how we've always established kind of a hierarchy. So we never had to fight. We knew who was who within that. We knew if a woman came around, okay, she's probably going to be interested in him. We just know that. We may not flat out come out and say it, but we knew who was going to get chosen. We knew who was smart. We knew who was going to make the most money, kind of. So,
and we weren't mad about it either. Like, we're not mad that this dude's going to be, like, we knew in 8th grade, he's going to be an engineer. He's going to be a doctor. He's going to be gambling. My man over here going to have 2-3 baby mamas. We already knew all these things. So as we grow up, we really just working on the bond. You know, we're not even really trying to stand in each other's way or take each other's spot. But to your point, JR, about Chicago, I feel like it's an interesting question because I haven't seen why there's so much hate on each other. It really just seems like, you know, if I'm not succeeding, I don't want to see anybody else succeed. And even though I may be too tired or lazy to succeed, I just don't want to see you succeed either. I don't want anybody to leave me here alone in my non-successful self, you know? So I want as much company as I possibly can. So just to see you trying to get out of, you know, this bubble that we have already aggravates me because it reminds me of all the things I'm not doing. So you with your network, let's say, you may run into a person who is just hating on you, but deep down, they really wish they had a network, but they just don't have the drive to learn how to do it, whereas you do. So instead of putting the work in to learn, it's easier to just troll and hate and, you know, try to sabotage you because they don't want to be alone in their own feelings. So I feel like it's sad that that's unique to a city, but it's true because, you know, I've been places where fights have broken out simply because he was popular and this group was mad that everybody was over here and they just generated a fight just to ruin the night. And I don't know what it is about. I don't know if that's not happening in places where Black folks are concentrated in some of these other cities, but it is a shame that it happens in Chicago so often.
Well, do you know what hate really is when people say, you know, they're hating on me? You know what hate really is? It's confused admiration. That's all it is.
That's a good way to put it. I never thought about that.
I love that. So I say haters are welcome.
Hey, I do want to kind of move on real quick to this next one. Omari said, "Men are babies." Yes, ladies, men are babies. So maybe some of us are more man to be secure enough to say we are babies. But even the most secure man is still a baby.
I agree with that,
Yeah, I think, and
especially
then
when
I,
they get
I
sick.
and then I believe like when we get older, like a lot of the relationships we had when we're younger, that still travels into our adulthood. Whether you're married, you have kids, like I have a homeboy. He almost acts like the little brother to us, and still to this day, yo, like he's the one sensitive one. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, you talking about me? Like, nah, dog. I just made a general statement. So a lot of those same relationships same relationship dynamics that we had, we still into adulthood, they still exist. So but I do agree. I think that we have our non-negotiables and it can come across immature. Everybody has something. Y- y- the deeper you dig, you'll find out what that is because some of us hide it better than others, but I think you'll find it with each individual person you're dealing with.
What does he
What
mean by the baby part? I guess I need more kind of like baby in more sense.
I know what he means.
All the way down through these layers is just a soft ball of
Little
chalk.
like
You
a
know what I
little
mean? We just soft down low. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
we get
They just
emotional.
want to be
Men have
hugged and
we just
cuddled.
been so trained to not show emotion, but we still
Yes.
feel the emotion. We just know how to keep the tears from coming out. We know how to not talk if we getting choked up or walk off if we get emotional. We know how to pretend like we don't need a hug and we don't need,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, to lay my head on
Just
your
come
bosom.
give me a
I done had a
hug.
rough
It's
week, right?
okay.
You know what I mean? Like we've just been so conditioned to think that these things are not manly and these things are not what real men, like a real man don't need no hug. Like that's, even if that's not something we say, it's just like implied in society. So, but deep down, yeah, like we want to be, I don't know if pampered is the word, but we want the same, emotional connections that a lot of people want. And I just think that there's
I don't
this
care how
stereotype.
manly a man is. When he has a hard day, he wants to come home. He wants to lay in his wife's arms. He wants a scalp massage. He wants his feet rubbed. He just wants to talk.
Right. He wants,
It's okay, honey. I love
right,
you. It'll be
right,
better tomorrow.
right.
My dad
2K
used to
start
say,
cheating.
inside
You
of
know what I'm
every
saying?
grown man is a little boy.
Why'd
My
you have
dad
to
used to
bring
say,
that up?
inside. My father used to say, inside of every grown man is a little boy. He said, so like you need to think about your son, like when he does something great, and you're like, oh my god, you did such a good job. They said men like secretly they still desire that within them. They're not going to be like, oh, you like my picture, but they'll be like, like that ego stroke. They love that.
Yeah, I mean,
Eat
a
it
lot of
up.
men, I'm sure people, this is across the board, but men, there's a lot of men who still fight like abandonment issues, traumas that they felt as children. If it's never been addressed, then you're kind of still that same kid. We might have gotten older physically, but emotionally and mentally, you might still be that 12-year-old boy who went through whatever they went through. And now as an adult, that 12-year-old boy still has needs that's never been met. So they still are yearning for all these different connections. But Jay, welcome to the show. I'm curious on what your
How you
thoughts
doing,
are.
brother? Well, first of all, I'm gonna say to everybody on the panel is spitting some facts tonight. Like a lot of the sisters hit some stuff with a high school mentality. I see it a lot. And the fact that I'm 30 years old and I still see that it shocks me to this day. And none of my boys, my brotherhood of boys, that they don't act anything like the guys in Chicago at all. None of us have this pre-adolescent boy mentality. Because both like my guys, they're married, but the difference is with them, we we have no reason to be jealous of each other whatsoever, to climb over a hierarchy over one another, because there's no need for that. We don't participate, and I speak for them, and they can speak for themselves if they're on here. Because I'll tell you exactly what they would tell you. We don't participate in anyone's carnival. I don't participate in anyone's carnival of nonsensical BS. I just don't do it, because I've kind of figured out the spectrum and the wheel of how it works. And it's like, you're gonna get caught into her pace if you freaking participate in that. And I'm like, no, I won't. Don't worry. My eyes are open. My head is secure. I know what they're trying to make me do, and they're not gonna make me do it. Don't worry. I'm not gonna participate, dude. I don't want a free ticket. I don't want a ticket at all to participate in it. So therefore, I know that our group is going to be able to overcome a lot of stuff because we don't have like the tragedies or / traumas that some of these guys have. And I'm going to say this right now, and this ain't to pick on them. Sometimes it's not their fault of where they end up. I told people like how you were raised and all that, like, but you can choose how you end up. You do have that choice as men. You definitely have that choice, guys, because it's not something as if you can just be like, oh, the world hates me, therefore no one's on my side, no one's here to help me, so therefore I got to steal it from somebody. So some guy who's already at the top, what you said with Ja Rule and 50 Cent, my brother up there, I definitely agree. Like, so I got to kick him off his high horse and then I got to take his spot. None of us think like that, but some people will think like that if they've never had anything in their lives. So I do agree. I do agree with what you're saying in terms of like I said, the hierarchy does exist. But for me and my boys, we just, like I said, we don't believe in it. We know a hierarchy does exist, but within our group, we don't have that at all. It's just a matter of like, bro, we hold each other down. We help each other when we are at our darkest time, and also when we also help each other. Like, we get on each other, we G-check each other in case anything goes wrong. So like I said, you got to surround yourself with the amount of the men that are really there for you more often not than just for themselves. Like I said, it can let out a hand for you to start, but you got to put in the work. I've always said that before. Don't think like they're gonna baby you. No, none of my boys baby me. I don't baby my boys. I don't do that at all. Like they push me to be better. And like I said, I'm not trying to kick them off a throne. Nobody is like the king in our group. We're all good. We're all quality men in the sense that we can get together and talk about things, even the uncomfortable things that we don't tell our girlfriends or our wives. We talk about that stuff. So like I said, it's.
You on mute, Jerry?
I was saying we got to get some other people in real quick, Jay. Hold that thought. Amber, Courtney, Jay.
Yeah. Real quick, the same thing with men. Just having that, like you were talking about your friend group, and each individual friend serves a different purpose. Like, I have a friend that when we riding on if I need backup on some physical type stuff, I know who I would call. If I know who's gonna run from the fight, but he's still my friend because I know he's consistently running away when it pops off. You know what I mean? It's consistency. Then I got that friend, when my world is falling down and some chick done broke my heart, and I'm, that meme that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know who I could call for that, and it won't be thrown back in my face in public. You know what I mean? Like, all right, what about that time you called me with the? But yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah. A couple years ago, I caught myself trying to put a documentary together about Black men and depression. And I did a research with 11 males, young boys as young as 7 to a gentleman who was 69.
You should revisit that.
Yeah, I almost got funding by the 100 Black Men, but it was just a lot of red tape. But the consensus I made was they all said that the only emotion that they're allowed to show is anger, which is typically a sub emotion of pain, fear, guilt, and things like that. And so when I'm thinking about, he's like, all men are babies. I'm like, they're not babies, men are human. But specifically Black men in our community were trained and conditioned involuntarily by their environment or their upbringing, or just what it constitutes. Sorry, that's my car. Just what constitutes as being a man is the only emotion you are allowed, to show is anger and nothing else. So I think it just goes into men are not babies, men are human. And our Black men have never allowed to be human.
But I do think as women, like there needs to be like a safe space we create for them to be that, like vulnerable.
I agree. I think
show that with the people at work, you need to have a place to be that person.
Just within the culture, it feels like there's not necessarily a space. It seems like we're told two messages at once. Like on one hand, we need to be more expressive with our, with our emotions. We need to be more aware of mental health and the things that trigger us or whatever it is. But then in the next moment, you know, we're told that, you know, like, oh, I want you to open up, but don't open up to me like that. You know, I want you to tell me what you're thinking, but don't tell me everything you're thinking. You know, I want you to be able to come to me with your problems. If you're having something, you know, something horrible is going on at work, let's say, or you're kind of getting worried about your job status. Well, I don't know if your girl wants you to come home and tell her that you don't know if you may get fired soon. You know, so it's kind of a confusing situation for a man, because we deal with all kinds of life's troubles too, but we don't necessarily want to pass our trouble on to our woman or whoever it is, given that we're supposed to be her protector. We're supposed to be, you know, the security, right, and all these things. So we're feeling vulnerable. Who can we really go to talk about these vulnerabilities when you look to me for strength? So I think that when Omari says that we're babies, it's just that we also cry. You know what I mean? We have unreasonable emotion or whatever it could be. And so the idea that, you know, all a man should be is a protector and provider and, you know, all these things, when in fact they need emotional support too, I think is maybe what the message, or at least that's how I interpreted the message to be.
Hey, Cal, I'm gonna go to Courtney, but before you do, I always tell a story about my grandfather would take me in the crawl space and show me about the sub pump and everything, and it was, it was bad. I think we needed a new sub pump, and it was going to cost a lot of money. But he said the one thing that you don't want is to worry the women in the house. It was my mother, my auntie, and my grandmother. So from that, I just took that if there's anything that's going on, I'm gonna try to problem solve it to my best of ability. The last thing that I'm gonna do is let the women in the house know that there's an issue. I mean, because to me, any issue should be able to get fixed. Only thing that can't get fixed is death, or if you got a health issue. And then even the plan that I put forth with health issues is that if you find out you have something, then just go get a second opinion about it too, because again, humans are not perfect. So just because one doctor diagnosed you with that, get 2 or 3 other opinions before you make that decision. And that's just a part of life. So that's just how I move. I'm not going to be sitting there crying about everything. And if you see a potential threat or a concern that would just sadden the whole entire house, then you just don't want to do that. Like, your energy is very important within the house. And sometimes women are looking at you. They may not tell you, but they looking at you, and they feeding off of your energy. If you come in the house and the energy is that there isn't anything wrong or concern, then they're able to be reserved into their, you know, femininity, so to speak. Because you do have some modern women that's out there that are trying to be more feminine, but you got to put them in a situation, in a space where they don't have to worry. That's why I say I'm okay if a woman works, but just having the option at least for her not to be able to work is always a good thing. Because then even if she wants to work, she may decide, like, you know what, I don't have to go through this, because I know when I get to the house, I can quit this job at any given moment. Like when you making money on the side away from your primary job, let's say you got a business or something like that. When you go to work different, a different mindset. Things are not bothering you as much because you know that any given day I could walk up out of here and I'm still gonna be good. Same thing with a woman. I could walk up out of here and not have to work another day in my life because I'm choosing to be here. I don't have to be here. So it's a difference of the tone that you set within your household.
But
Go
then
ahead,
will you share
hold
that
on,
stress?
hold on. I know Courtney wanted to speak.
Go ahead,
So let me go to Courtney.
That was a lot said. I don't know where to start.
Well, it wasn't necessarily that, but just on the topic itself about the babies and the men. I didn't know if you wanted to speak on it because everybody went around and spoke on that.
Like, Courtney, does a man come to you
think,
crying? Does that make you uncomfortable?
Oh, it depends on what he's crying about, and if that's a isolated incident or he's always crying. Now, if you're just always crying, that's an issue. So, but I think men, I don't think we're using babies. It's just kind of like a metaphor. If there's a softness that's in a man, and the most secure man is able to tell you there is a softness, there is a vulnerability about me that I have, and there's something that I need for that to be tapped into. And to go it back to power, Angela was so much powerful in his life, really, than his wife Tasha, even though she bared the kids and ran the house. But the power lied in Angela. because she was able to tap into that vulnerability. She was able to allow him to be kind of soft, where his whole entire career, his life, murking people, he wasn't able to. And she used that Jamie and understanding that her femininity to him was powerful. And I don't think women necessarily understand that you do get more bees with honey than vinegar. It's being able to scale it back. And that's how powerful that we are. But we use it as in me being combative towards another man and me over talking because I want to be heard, that's actually getting us heard, and it's not. And I've had to learn that. Just being completely transparent with the whole Amira situation and that particular show, and that cast me as a chameleon. And it was me kind of looking back, because I stand on what I stand on, and what I said is what I said, but it was my approach. And the approach was, I could have approached that a lot better. So instead of taking that running or crying or getting off YouTube, I decided to make the change for myself. I can do this a lot better. I'm not being heard, and people are looking at me at a certain type of way that I know that I'm not. So what is the issue? Why am I getting called a chameleon? Why am I getting these random videos? Why? And it was, well, as a woman in a man's space, how you get heard, how a man wants to hear you is not how he wants to hear another man. And that within itself is powerful, knowing that. And then moving forward, me making changes, me approaching situations completely different and having another outlook on stuff, change completely. Now I'm being heard, and I don't have to scream. I can sit back and rest and speak. And that within itself was completely more powerful than it was before. And that's also, I think, what's powerful in a relationship, and how a woman brings power in a relationship and able to get whatever she wants. But it's your approach. It's how you speak. It's how you're able to listen. It's even how your tone is and the words that you say. So is there vulnerability as small as a man? Absolutely. And I think a man wants to be vulnerable. I don't think that he's had the safe space to. I think sometimes when men become vulnerable, a lot of us use that against him, because we're not operating in space as a woman. We're operating in a space of trying to be as a man. And I appreciate the older that I get, and a man opening up to me or being vulnerable to me, that's how I know that man trusts me. Because I think that's the hardest thing for a man to do, is to be vulnerable to a woman, to have that softness or to show. And that when I get to that point, or when I'm dating someone and they open up and tell me a story that I know they wouldn't tell anybody else, that's how I know someone likes me or cares about my opinion. Because I know that's very, very hard for men to do. But I do understand that I think men need that. We just have to give them a space to do it.
I completely agree, Courtney.
Oh, you muted, JR.
I don't know what the hell keep going on. I keep getting muted. Hey Jay, I'm gonna go ahead and get you up off here. I'm trying to keep the panel down. So let me move on to open it up for other people to get on. Appreciate you input.
I got you, bro. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, let's try to get through some of these guys. NAMCC, what's going on, brother? What you got for us, real quick?
Hey, what's going on, JR? Hey, that was beautiful. What Courtney just mentioned, and I think she really is kind of reflecting Ghost. And I say that because she's expressing the influence of not strength, but power. And that's the word that she used. And that goes back to the panel that you had a little while back, GR, with regards to power, how it's expressed, the different aspects of power and so forth. I'm in South America right now, but I'm from the U.S. There was a study done called behavior analytics, where it took the characteristics of citizens or people living in the U.S. or in North America and broke them down into 7 different characteristics. the concept is everybody has all 7 of these different behaviors, but they operate at different bandwidths depending upon what state of mind that they're in. And so you may have a analytical and a or a just a force driven type personality subconsciously, so that you operate in that aspect once you're in distress. But normally you work under an emotional type piece. And so I think the 3 characters that you have for Ghost or Jamie St. Patrick or Jamie is James St. Patrick is more or less looking at it from a past, present, and future aspect. And I say that because Jamie was the past. Jamie was the first love that he had with Angela. Jamie was that emotional learning and finding out about life and so forth. James St. Patrick was his present reality or his present state of mind, his standard operating system, to where the majority or the general public knew him as that businessman. This is what he does. This is his day-to-day life. That's his safe place. Well, once he gets into situations of distress, he goes into ghost. And I don't say ghost as a negative or malevolent type character, because ghost is actually his ability to wield his power, which is the name of the show. He was able to know when to use force. He was able to know when to use charisma, know when to finesse, know when to use his financial resources, his dope money, know who the characters are, know when to be humble. So Ghost is more or less his true operating system, or his true mindset that he goes to for survival and to kind of help him wield or manifest whatever his future or whatever his new reality he wants it to be. And so I think if we kind of look at it from that aspect, it'll kind of explain how, like you guys talked about on the show, some people, they're still acting like in their teenagers. They're still some people are more mature. Some people act in this way and so forth. Everybody's just operating off of different mental states or different percentages of their 7 different characteristics, and it's all based upon whatever state of mind that they're in. So I just wanted to chime in and add that to the conversation.
Yeah, I do want to speak on that a little bit real quick, man, and then we're gonna go to Aaron. And I always rave about having a balance in life. So I appreciate everything that I've experienced growing up. Like I grew up in the projects. I'm not proud of it, but it has taught me a lot. I grew up not having much, so it's not easy for me to appreciate when I do get things. A lot of people may come to Chicago, we hear things about Chicago, and to me being exposed to so many different things, I know how to navigate through situations that may appear to be a threat. Like you're able to analyze, you're able to look around, you're able to see. I was talking to a young lady, and this guy was scared to get out of his car to pump the gas because there was some gas across the street, and so she had to pump her own gas. And she spoke about how, she didn't like that from him, but he couldn't peak the situation. He was afraid because he hadn't had a chance to experience being in an environment where you have to get out and understanding if it's a threat around. I mean, if you need gas, sometimes you got to just go out there and do it, but just still keep your head on the swivel. So I appreciate the moments of having like a balanced life. And you have Ghost. It may not be the negative side of Ghost that comes out, but because of the experience and how he grew up, he's able to put that into situations where he has to have that Ghost type of mindset. And I think that women does appreciate the fact that a man has to keep you safe in certain situations. That's why I think most men should know how to defend themselves, know how to protect their houses, and by any means necessary, because anything that comes within your area and it's a threat, you got to know how to get it out. It may not necessarily mean you got to respond in violence, but you just need to have an understanding of you got to be on the woke side of what's really going on in that moment. And some people minds don't respond quick. So if you're not a quick thinker on your feet, like I tell everybody, I'm not a debater, so I'm not gonna sit here and debate nobody. You know, I was the type of person like, let me get the fuck out of my family, I'm gonna slap the shit out your ass. That's just the way how I was looking at it, because I'm not gonna sit here and have this wordplay with you. It's not my character. So when y'all had these little strong debates or something like that, if I ain't got no dog in that fight, guess what? It ain't my cup of tea. But I'm cool with it. You know, y'all go ahead and do y'all thing. But I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna do what I know I'm comfortable with doing. So I just think people have to be aware of who they are, and if you are lacking in certain areas, like knowing how to protect your family or knowing how to respond if the pipes burst, knowing how to recognize if there's a threat around you, then you just got to just, you know, learn how to get some training on it. Put yourself in situations where you have to think. You got to get uncomfortable. So just my take on it. But I totally relate to what you're saying. Go ahead, Aaron.
Did she go out with the guy again that didn't pump her gas?
Well, it didn't last. I don't know how long they didn't, but it was just crazy the fact that he was scared to get out the car to pump the gas.
Deuces.
You can't be going to them gas stations. That's what I'm, just go down the gas station down the street, man. That's all
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aaron.
I want to touch on two things, and I'll be brief. When we talk about the question at the bottom hovering, men or babies, right? A lot of times I look at it like this. Men typically or try to create their little dens, right? Women like, he's in his den, he's in the dungeon, the cave, right? And the reason that exists is after a man has taken care of all of his responsibilities, done everything he's supposed to do for the day, he want to go somewhere and not be bothered and not have responsibilities, which would put him in a state of a child, right? And so in those moments, you see video games being played, just sitting back, don't bother me right now. It's because ultimately men work, create, do everything they can to try to cultivate an environment to where they can sit around and do nothing. Although most of the time we may never get to that space, that's the ultimate goal for most people. I want to do so much to where I ain't got to do nothing. And if I do it, then it's because I want to. And so I think that's what I kind of took away from us wanting to be babies in a lot of senses, right? And then when JR was talking about how people operate in Chicago from time to time, the dissension and things like that, what I take from it is most people have jealousy in them, right? And let's say JR drive down the street in a Ferrari, and I like Ferraris, right? I'm like, oh, that Ferrari,
I like that, Aaron.
Real nice.
That's a good.
Yeah,
go ahead, carry on, brother.
I'm gonna put that in your head, and I'm like, oh, that Ferrari look real nice, right? I want one. Now, some people might say that motivation, but for me, that's a little bit of jealousy, right? I think it converts to hatred when I say, I want his Ferrari. You see what I'm saying? I think jealousy is okay as long as it's not an actionable thing. Just to feel like it can push you somewhere. Like, I'm gonna give me a Ferrari like JR. But if
that's
he say
coveting.
Say again?
That's called coveting.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I'm just saying, like, internalizing, right? Because men mostly internalize things, right? So in our mind, we make a decision when we see something, we go, mm-hmm. And so I think what happens is some people in spaces get to a place where they don't think they're ever going to get their own Ferrari, so they want to take JR's Ferrari. Because a lot of people are wolves, right?
They have to come through the network. They ain't just going to be taking JR's Ferrari.
I know they're not going to get JR. He got an army. I understand. I'm just saying a person's mind goes when that's hatred. When it shifts from taking away from somebody else for you to gain, that's hatred. It's different from competing, because I heard like men like it's competition. Well, you look in business, McDonald's competes with Burger King, right? But they don't try to kill each other for it.
Or they burn the store down.
Yes, they actually compete. Now, they try to take one's client from one another, but they don't actually physically do anything, right? There's actual like strategies. So I think in life, what we do is we go to taking, we go to physicality, and we don't have that ability to transition that over to a different type of competition. And I think that's what's difficult. So JR got a clothing company. Well, I'm gonna burn his clothing company down instead of competing with my own one right next door to him. So I think all that is encompassing of a lot of hatred. And I think jealousy can be good as long as it's controlled.
Are we thriving too much off of other people's envy and jealousy of us, though? You know, on one hand, we say that it's bad to be that guy who's envious of somebody, but then on the other hand, you want to be the guy that everybody's hating on. You know what I mean? I want to be JR in the Ferrari, and the hate is like, I don't want JR to have that Ferrari. And the third person is like, man, JR got haters out here. He must be doing something right. So it's like, isn't the hate what everyone is saying that we need in order to show that we have accomplished something?
No, I think hate is fashionable, yo. I'm sure a bunch of y'all have looked on your timelines, IG or Facebook, and seen somebody talking about they got haters, and you're like, you ain't got no damn haters, yo. You know what I mean? You be like, come on now, you 68 years old, retired. Who the hell hating on you? You know, or you've seen some people that's like our age, and you're like, come on now.
When you operate from the auspice of, you know, you haven't made it unless somebody is hating on you, is extremely childish as fuck. Because when you're operating in your purpose, in your assignment, typically the end goal is either impact, fulfillment, and seeing how you have changed the world or changed people's lives, or acquire monetary gain. If you're focusing on who's hating you, you're looking back, and then you're going to also it's taking you away from the assignment. It's taking you away from the purpose, because you're looking back at who's possibly hating on you. It's stupid and it's counterintuitive.
And I look at it like being in a club. Like, I'm sure everybody has this friend as well. Yo, you see that person looking at me? Why they keep looking at me? If you're not looking at them, you can't even tell that they're looking at you. You know what I mean? So it goes hand in hand with that. Yo, when you're focusing on the negative, you're impeding your progress.
Mm-hmm. I only know I have haters because other people tell me. Like, they'll show me screenshots of something someone took of me and put a comment on it and sent it to them, and they sent it to me. I'm like, who has time for that? I don't care.
But like, how does that make you feel though, Kelly? Do you feel like, yeah, that's right, they hating on all my glow up?
I don't care. I don't have no. I'm like, why are you sending me that? I don't care. I'm like, listen, if my life gives them something to talk about, perfect, good. It's a win-win.
We got to keep it on moving, y'all. Scam Likely, what's going on, brother?
It's muted. What's good? What's going on?
Hi, Scam Likely.
Stop calling my phone so much, man.
Renew your insurance and you'll be good.
Hey, man, I got a friend, and she said that Applebee's was calling everybody's phone. Like, they keep calling. They was having an issue with it was in Chicago. I don't know the task to it, but it was just calling people's phone. I thought that was crazy that y'all said that. I know it had nothing to do with the conversation, but I just wanted to still put it out there anyway.
Oh, Applebee's nasty. Chili's
might have been Scam Likely. You know, he'd be king trolling.
Trolling. I don't know what you're talking
king
about.
Troll.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was one of my alter egos.
Oh, my bad. The other dude had glasses.
We ain't forgot about that flute playing in Houston, sir. And that flute that you was playing in Houston.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
that was Dr. Panderson. I don't
Courtney,
know.
you don't remember? You probably weren't paying attention. He
I don't remember the flute.
Yeah, the same thing that he did on Kay and Kayla's show. He came with the flute and started singing and playing.
Song? Yeah, the wig. Yeah, the wig.
No, I'm taking the day off. It's the week. No holiday trolling. Maybe tonight, but you know. I don't get why people can't accept. I say this 100 times. People are who people are. They're who they're going to be yesterday. They're going to be who they are today, and they're probably going to be some version of what they were 5 years from now. They're probably going to be those people because they do what they do. They are who they are. They're around who they're around, and that's just going to be what it is. Why are people hating? Because they are haters. That's their job. That's what they do. Why are people ugly? Because they're ugly. Why are people rich? Probably because they have money. There's actions people take to become who they are. There's a lot of people who don't take those actions, and they're not going to become those other people over there. It's not going to change for the better. It's probably going to change for the worse. If you're talking about this place that we call the Black community, it's not going to change. It's going to get worse. Why? Look at how the kids are being raised and where they're being raised at and who they're being raised by. Accept it, deal with it accordingly. Make sure that you're not one of those people, or that you're not within 30 meters of those people, and you might actually be all right. This high school mentality thing, these are facts. Why? I can't give you an answer. Why people 30, 40 years old still competing and clowning like high school and whatever. Now I got the high school jokes. I'm going to do that. I mean, why? Entertainment. But reality, when I click the red X that says leave studio, that's when go have business and go have a good life. I don't know why.
Who are you in real life? Are you Ghost, Jamie? James St. Patrick?
Who?
Who are you in real life?
Scam Likely.
No, I'm saying like out of the three parts of his character, are you more of a Ghost or a Jamie, or do you not watch Power?
I don't watch Power. I don't watch that much TV, to be honest.
Okay.
But I was listening to the conversation. But I do miss 3LW. They should have stuck together. They had them hits. But other thing I was gonna say, emotions and men are babies and all this stuff. Look, people are emotional. Emotions are actually discredited when we talk about men. Men are logical and men go and produce so they can go and fulfill emotional needs, regardless if they say it or not. Why they wear nice clothes, nice car, want nice looking women, all this stuff, so they can have emotional needs fit. Why? So they can have tangible but also emotional needs fed. Like a feeling of happiness is an emotion, and that's love is an emotion, and those are the motivators that make people succeed or even kill. So I don't know why they're discredited in these spaces. And last thing I was going to say, when they keep talking about this, people should do this, they should be doing that. Everyone was given free will. They can do whatever they want to do, and that's actually what they're doing, whatever they want. So when they say with some other parties and what is it based on? They should be doing something based on what? Now, if they come to you directly and say, I want this result, then you can tell them what they should be doing. But even then, they have an option to do it or not. But the whole organization of deciding what men and women should be doing, I don't get it. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. So just let it be. Or get in the comment section and just troll them. I mean, that's what I do. Just have your fun.
All right, Scam Likely. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming up, giving your perspective. Again, I'm pretty sure I see you on some of these other shows. So just be easy, man.
Cool.
All right. I did want to kind of get into one more other point real quick. You guys good? Y'all okay?
The white girl.
I think I had you introduce that, but he did say this right here. We as black men haven't often dealt in titles because we don't come with titles. But in our industries, respective financial, medicine, religion, entertainment, education, there are people who deal in titles. So until you're at that title, they're not necessarily messing with you like that, like they should. I want to start with the ladies. Let the ladies get in here. Go ahead, Courtney.
I agree. The title has status that's attached to it. And is it unfortunate? Yes. Is it reality? Yes. If I came on here saying my name is Dr. Courtney, then it's going to deem a level of respect because I have that title. So, I mean, it's real. We're not, and as far as with black men, no, you're not born into that. But I think a lot of times in order for a lot of black men to get that respect, whether from women, their peers, is that they have to keep grinding to get a particular title. And then that's when they get the respect. The respect sometimes doesn't come when you're just doing a 9 to 5. We see that on the panel all the time. That 9 to 5 doesn't get the respect as someone that has some kind of a bigger status. Bleed red. But the respect on, again, your woman, your peers, your family, without that title, sometimes I think it's hard and even not given to it. So, I mean, I think he's spot on.
All right. What about you, Amber?
A couple of years ago, I was in a heated debate on Facebook with a woman, and I completely demolished her argument. And so because she couldn't argue me, she said, well, you know what? I'm a pediatrician. So why don't you just go ahead and take your little picture, sis? That was her way of, diminishing who I am as a photographer, which is not considered as lucrative as a pediatrician. And if this exchange is between women, I can't imagine the shit men get. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like, what Kevin Samuel said, are they LinkedIn level? In the professional world, like if you meet somebody, we exchange Instagram. But if somebody wants to research you in the corporate world or check your real status, the first thing they're going to go to is your LinkedIn. They're going to check your network. they're going to check your title, if you're VP, if you're the CEO or COO. And that's just the way it is, unfortunately, for men.
All right. About you, Kelly? You're on mute, just so you know.
Can you hear me now? I think a little bit differently about that, because I was raised in a space where my father was a pastor, an author. He would always have he owned businesses, so he would always have us around wealthy businessmen. And I don't see people for what they do. I see people for who they are. So me personally, your title doesn't matter to me. I work with doctors. I'm around lawyers all the time. But at the end of the day, when you leave your practice and you go across the street to pump your gas, no one's going to let you cut the line because you're a doctor across the street. Like, you are who you are. I care if you're kind, if you have good character. Like, that matters more in the world. Titles are important. And I don't think that people necessarily care to support you until you have arrived. And that's what bothers me. Like, you can start your journey, and even people in your own family may not support you. But once you've arrived, you've made it, they're like, oh yeah, I've been behind you the whole time. But you have to get to that.
Can I ask you a question? But I think it's also just human nature. When you meet a man, or if a guy approaches you guys on the first date, the first thing people ask is, well, what do you do for a living? What do you do?
I don't. I ask them, do you enjoy what you do? Because it doesn't matter if you're a doctor and you hate it. So what? Like, what you do isn't who you are. It doesn't define you. I know it does in life, but not to me. You could be a murderer that is a surgeon. Like, I don't know who you are as an individual. You could be a pedophile that's the best lawyer in town. Like, what you do for a living does not matter to me.
So
it doesn't. Absolutely.
You know, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm calling cap. I'm calling cap. If the man with the same attributes, same integrity, everything, and that man came up to you and said, I manage a 7-Eleven. And then the next man said, well, I'm a surgeon and I'm about to open up a whole whatever.
For me, it's not about him managing the 7-Eleven. He can manage 7-Eleven. That's great. It's, what do you want to do in life? What are your goals? Like, do you want to stay there? Are you happy there?
But see, that's the point. You want to know. You want to know. But you know, you want to know
what knowing to see if you're happy, and to even if you're going to elevate even more. So in these conversations, because this is where I'm calling cap.
You can call cap.
Majority of women respect men on a particular level, particular title, particular status. No one, we talk about Kevin Samuels. Women wouldn't have listened to Kevin Samuels 3 years ago, how he was the recording and how he was talking. He had to change his image, his status went through the roof. And that changed how women looked at him and how he was perceived. That man came on this panel all the time, and even the K's had to be silent in his presence.
Right. I'm not changing my stance, though. That's how I feel.
Well, I hear your stance.
There's wealthy men all the time that try to talk to me, and I don't care how much money they have. I care who they are as an individual.
So we're not talking about that you care that they're wealthy, but the initial question is you have to have a conversation to know what they do. Just to get past that point, to get to understand who they are. If they are happy.
I don't care what they do. I want to know how they think.
I disagree.
You could disagree all you want.
Yeah, likely.
I'll explain it. I'll explain it when it comes to me, though.
Disagree with what specifically?
Yeah, go ahead.
A doctor comes up and approaches you. He got all he's scrubbed and suit and tied out. He's Dr. McSmitherton. And you don't like him. But here's the deal. You don't like him.
Okay.
Because he stole your parking space and you heard him yelling at the kids. Are you going to listen to him?
Listen to him say what?
Anything.
Because he stole my parking spot and he was disrespectful to children?
Meaning, longer story short, people usually don't listen to, or the title means nothing if you don't like the person.
Okay.
You meet somebody and you don't like them, probably not going to listen to anything they got to say.
Right. You mean he's trying to holler at me?
No, just have a conversation in general.
Okay.
Most people first is, do they like? I mean, people rock with people they like, they know, like, and trust.
Okay.
Having a title does come when establish a form of credibility. But if you don't like the person, just like in business, a lot of people come and they say they're this and they say they're that, and you always think, and a lot of people say, I think it's a scam, because you don't know, you don't like, and you don't trust the person. They could be an executive. It could be Donald Trump, established, successful businessman, but people don't like him, and a lot of people who don't trust him, they're not going to rock with him. Now, I rock with Kevin Samuels. He has some fantastic content. But when you're talking about titles, he's been divorced twice. So his title was, hey, I've been divorced twice, but I'm in the circles dealing with all these high value men, and this is what they have to say. So he establishes credibility without the title, because he was missing the title. But
so where are you disagreeing? I'm sorry.
Just in general, I'm just saying, sometimes it's a logic thing. Like, okay, if they're saying, if I believe what they're saying, I'm going to rock with them. But if I don't know them, I don't like them, and I don't trust them, that comes before their established title. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So he's agreeing with you, Kelly. He's saying if you don't like the person, if you don't like the person, it doesn't matter what their title is. If you don't trust the person, it doesn't matter what their title is.
Which is cap too. Because we give more grace with people with titles than non-titles. We give more grace to a man, and I'm just talking about dating, that has a status than the other one. We're willing to put up with a little bit more stuff than we would the average.
Then how did Kevin Samuels establish as the dude who ran the manosphere, and he was a double divorced man? He didn't have a title.
Well, we don't have to make this about Kevin Samuels, because he didn't
No, I'm
necessarily
just using that as
run
an
the
example.
manosphere, and he never preached about being a divorce. So him being divorced has nothing to do with being an image consultant. So those are two different things that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, just to jump in, Kevin Samuels would always say he's an image consultant, and he would say that he used to run a singles group for a church. So in terms of a title, he can still say title is image consultant and title is leader of, singles group for, Missionary Baptist. So I mean, in terms of a title, I think, and that's kind of what I think that that Omari was getting at, not necessarily doctor, lawyer, and judge, but just like the image of the Black man is not that of a person in charge. So even when it comes to being an actor, like, you're just an actor, we don't see you as a producer. Will Smith is, even though he's seen as an actor, he owns his own production company. So Tyler Perry is very much a rare breed of a person who owns his own movie studio, because oftentimes just the image of the Black male is not that of a manager. You don't see you might see an Asian person and think, okay, I'm sure he's a director of some financial, whatever it is. Or you might see a white guy and think, oh, he's probably the manager at a bank. You see a Black dude and you think worker. You don't necessarily think manager, director, person in charge, person making decisions. And I feel like in the entertainment world, if you think that, oh, I have a really good idea for a script, let me try to get this script written. Well, you're not no executive producer. You're not that person. So even though your script might be nice, we're really not going to listen to you because you're not known to be that person. Now, if you get it through another entity where that person co-signs for you, okay, well then, yeah. And so in the larger sense, I just think he's saying that the Black man, regardless of who the individual is, the Black man is not seen as a person who is in charge. They're seen as a worker, whether it's in sports, the owner of a sports team, that image, you don't think of a Black person. So you might think of the player as a Black person, but the Black man is not necessarily coming with the title. And I saw in the comments, we come with negative titles. We do. We're born with titles like thug and gangster and, all these other things, whereas other children are not born with those inherent titles. So that's kind of how I interpreted that.
Let me ask you a question. Why is it when Ice Cube with the BLM stuff, why did he went and got a plan from a guy who was a doctor, professor or something? Why did he present it instead of the doctor, professor to a lot of the Black people? Why was it Ice Cube standing in the front?
Because he had more cultural cachet.
Because he's Ice Cube.
Do you get what I'm asking?
I can, because it was his idea.
But who has the knowledge? Who has the title?
His title is, go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
it was his.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I'm sorry. It was his idea, but what he did was consult with other people that knew better than him. So he was smart enough to consult with other people, but it was his particular plan. It was him being a leader and saying, hey, I have this idea that I want to present to the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and I consulted with Dr. Claude Anderson and some other men, but it wasn't their idea. He presented it. Now, his title, and the reason maybe why he got pushed back because of his title, but that's in the political realm. Again, your title is important. They probably didn't listen to Ice Cube. But then again, Joe Biden, Joe Biden went and got Cardi B.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ice Cube was put in that
That's a better
position.
example. Biden getting Cardi B is the example I'm trying to refer to. Cardi B don't know nothing about politics, but people are more willing to listen to Cardi B versus listening to political party, to a doctor, professor.
That was the
That's the thing that I was
expressing. That's the Democratic Party. And that's a whole nother
Plus,
topic.
plus you got to think of who are they looking to speak? Like who is the Democratic Party looking for Cardi B to speak to? And I imagine they're trying to loop in young people who are going to be 18 in the next election cycle. And so her title is rapper because all the kids listen to rappers. So, you know, you go get that person because that's the person that the kids can relate to. So they bring her and not a politician because kids ain't trying to listen to no politician. A kid doesn't have, especially the reputation of politicians these days, nothing but negative, no matter what side you fall on. But you know who kids do listen to? Their favorite rapper. So let me go get a rapper. No matter who it is, I'm sure Cardi B, they say, okay, well, let me pay you a little bit of money. Let me maybe help you out on whatever it is. And you come and talk to the kids. And so I think that's how that works because her title is rapper, former stripper, these kinds of things that she can then use that to relate to the audience that the Democratic Party is trying to reach.
Right. They're using the know, like, and trust. They know Cardi B, they like her, and they trust her. That's all I was saying. Does she have the title, the knowledge, and it? No. God, no.
Well, no. The know, like, and trust is from the people who know, like, and trust her is the audience, is the young people. And they know, like, and trust her because her title is rapper. You could take out Cardi B and insert J. Cole, the Baby. You could use any rapper because the title that they're banking on is rapper. That's the title that is the difference between that and anything else. Just like if you get LeBron James, or maybe not LeBron James, if you get Kevin Durant, his title is basketball player. So you don't necessarily get Durant because he has so much knowledge on politics. You're getting him because his title is something that people can, or the young audience that they're going after can relate to that title of basketball player.
Let me say something real quick.
Kind of proves my point. Oh, go ahead.
Because there was a comment that said that you don't have to make $200,000. You can make $200,000 and your title doesn't mean anything. That's cap. Your title does.
Aaron, you're muted.
There's a lot of people that do construction. There's a lot of men that might do plumbing that make six figures, but it's their title. When you go to them, I'm a plumber, compared to someone that's a doctor, and that doctor could be $100,000-$200,000 in debt. So
I think we might be overthinking. I think we might be overthinking it just a little bit. I think naturally us as people, we try to find ways to associate things. That's why we have colors.
Like
height.
with an introduction.
But I think
what I do.
I think the bigger point for what I'm taking from it is when we have to trust or defer to somebody else. For us to trust or defer to somebody else, we would want somebody that are higher ranked than us, or somebody that is more credentialed than us, for us to say, I'm gonna trust you with this activity. Like, we don't just say, oh yeah, my uncle fixed cars. We like, mechanic? Is he a mechanic? Like, we're trying to associate things, right? And I think a lot of times we don't realize as people, like, we have to be credentialized in a lot of areas, unless you're a con artist or whatever, for people to then come to you, because no matter what your race is, if it says Courtney controls 44 billion in assets, she's an asset manager controlling 44 billion, and somebody comes in and they goes, well, I control 5 billion. I'm gonna have to talk to Courtney if I'm trying to scale up. They might not care about her race at that point. I'm not saying race don't play a point of it, but when people they're trying to associate how much they can trust you. And JR never trusts nobody all the way. So we find ways to title people to try to understand how much we can give them trust, and just to, you know, because if we don't know any better, we have to defer. And I think those titles kind of help give us direction when we're actually in this world. We're often lost trying to figure it out.
And do you think that Black men inherently get those titles, or is that something that we have to earn in a way that other groups don't have to earn? Just in the totality, in the overall totality of culture.
We start at the bottom. We start at the bottom because unless your family literally runs a company, they can't just put you right in and call you an engineer. See, if you might not even have to go to school for engineering. If your father owns a company and he put you in this position and you work as an engineer, you can be credentialed to be such. So we don't have those advantages often. And I don't think we know that we can get those advantages, right? A lot of times people say, oh, you know, I'm on a board of directors. And people are like, damn, how do you get to that position? Well, a lot of times people don't know. You create your own company, you can create a board of directors, you know, and you can create a position and say, I've been doing this for this X amount of time. We just don't have the knowledge to know we can do these things, right? Now, so I do think we start at zero often, and we don't realize the importance of titles until we get one.
Anybody haven't spoke on it yet?
You know, you can tell the difference too when even jobs, they've changed. Like even with mine, you're not just, even though you're a salesperson, we don't give you the title of a sales associate. We'll give you a title of executive over hardware. Same thing. You're not doing anything different but selling it. But that title usually gives more credibility to go what you were saying, Aaron, to that person. And honestly, a lot of people get hired because they want that particular title. It would be the same amount as being just a salesperson, but that title that they get is what they're gunning for. So title matters. And it matters in a life, it matters in respect, it matters within dating. And as much as we can say, yeah, who you are you happy with it? Yeah. And there's a lot of women that think that, but for the majority.
And just to piggyback, sorry, Courtney, I just want to just piggyback on what you're saying. Just, you know, I was looked at differently from a photographer, but when a media director was on my business card, completely different energy. And I'm quite sure if me and Courtney was in the same room, they would be like, I'm a photographer. She is I'm sorry, the latter name you just changed your name to. They will look at her as more prestigious. It's just, it is what it is. Example, there's a difference between a single woman to, oh, you're married. Titles matter.
Still the same person.
They do. Oh, you're engaged.
Yeah. So I guess my thing is like, you can have a title and still not know what the hell you're doing. Like,
absolutely.
I'm a board certified licensed optician. The people I work with, they care. That gets me into whatever job I want, whatever. But the people I'm sitting from, they don't care. They care. Do I know what I'm doing? Am I taking care of you? I don't leave with that. Did they enjoy their experience with me? Are they going to come back? Are they going to refer their friends to me? It's not my title. It's who I am as a person.
And we're not arguing that, like you're speaking of having high integrity, Kelly, which makes you a beautiful woman. We're just talking about the initial encounter between two human beings. Hence, that's why there's networking events. Let's put all these different people with different titles in the room and exchange cards to see how people can, you know, level up, or, you know, what they say called hypergamy in the networking. It's just that initial interaction. The follow through is an integrity issue.
I think titles matter. I just think they're partially overrated because know, like, and trust comes before titles, or is more important than titles. That's all I'm saying. Like the pediatrician you were talking about that you just battled with and they went and got petty on you. I'm sure you wouldn't take your kids there to go see her. She might know what she's talking about when it comes to what she does, but I know you don't know, you don't like her, and you don't trust her. So you wouldn't take your kids there. Am I right?
But that takes digging in and time to see. But the first the first initial meeting is, what's your title? And that starts the trust. Now you can F up this trust once I get to know you or the type of person that you are, but the title opens a door. The title's your title opens up the door to a lot of things. How you mess up to you.
Right. I'm not saying titles don't matter. I'm just saying that know, like, and trust are stronger than titles. That's all I'm saying. Courtney froze.
Okay. I want to throw this in, like, one more real quick. So hit the like button if you guys haven't already. Appreciate all the support. 50 Cent gave. Let me take this off right quick because that's still flashing. Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna drop off, headed
Okay.
to the beach. Thank y'all for having me on.
I want to go to the beach too.
Vamos a la playa. Ahora.
He's so cute.
All right, y'all. This is the last one. This is the last one, y'all. Thanks, Cam. 50 Cent gave Omari money and he paid it back plus interest. He said 50 Cent respects him for that. Omari says he was just not taught that in our community. Barely do we pay anybody back. We're not thinking how many times that person has been asked to get a loan. Once we're hit up for money, we don't expect to give it back. Sometimes we wish we would like to get it back from the person that says 7 times they will pay you back. Are we just giving money out these days without expecting it back?
I think I think that's become the routine. You know, I think everybody has given somebody money and loan somebody money expecting to get it back, and just watch that person go on trips and buy new outfits and pop up with new cars, and you still ain't got your $500 back, and you like, dog, what's good? So all those emotions that you go through while watching this person just continuously slap you in the face by buying a bunch of items, instead of going through that emotion, you put it in your head that money's gone, which is a much easier process. So I think we've all gone through that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think it's
doing all that on a credit card. You don't know. They might not even have your $500 to give you.
Well, get that money off your credit card. You can get cash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it was interesting that he said that he paid 50 back. Not only did he pay him back, but paying back with interest. I mean, people just don't do that anymore, especially when it's just person to person. I mean, I agree with Jay. A lot of times when people hit you up like, hey, can I get $50 to last me through the week? And then I get paid next week and I got you. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to just give you this $50 because I know you need it. Or, I assume you need it because you're humbling yourself enough to ask me for it. So I'll give it to you. But after a certain amount of times, I'm just going to stop giving it to you. I'm probably going to stop answering your call. So I think that what he was saying is so many of us kind of take advantage of a person who we think has way more money than us. So that little $50 isn't even registering for them, when in fact, it's just a matter of integrity. Too often we are not holding each other accountable for the levels of integrity that we give to one another. And I think that when you do pay somebody back, they're always surprised, especially if, you borrowed me $10, I give you $20 back, you're probably gonna be shocked at something like that. So, I don't even think it's something to agree or disagree with. I just think that it's an observation that's accurate, and especially him in his situation where, he was using that money to feed his family and really live. So there had to be something that 50 saw in Omari to give him that money in the first place. So, I think that in a time where 50 was making, I don't know, however much money, I don't know if he said the year this was, but I feel like 50 at one point was making $50 million a year nearly. So 25 grand is probably nothing to 50 Cent. But just the fact that Omari give it back to him plus interest, I think says a lot more about him and not so much about everyone else. Everyone else will just take that money and run. And then next time we see you, we'll say, oh yeah, man, I got you. Don't trip. And just keep doing that until either the relationship falls apart or they come knocking at our door. So, but on Omari's end, I think that that's just a testament to his character and not even so much the rest of us.
Yeah, I think that the issue comes from two things. One is a character thing, and then also we have bad associations with money. We don't understand how money works. We don't understand the true value of money, and that all affects our way of thinking. So, like, I'll give you an example. Can I get the family discount? You know, I need half off. You know, we homies. You know, see, I don't believe in that. I believe you go to your friend's restaurant, you pay the same price you would pay at another person's restaurant. They wouldn't give you no deal. When you go buy your Nike hoodies, they don't give you no deal. So when your peoples put out a product, you shouldn't be looking to get a deal. But because our association and our understanding of money is so bad, we have the mindset that we ain't gonna get that money back, that we're trying to, manip the money and just try to, hold on to it a little longer. And we don't understand how that impacts somebody who's trying to move into a different space. So even when you start to make a little money and you get to another space, you just say, oh, just take the money, because I don't want you to hurt my feelings. How I know you're going to actually do when it's time to pay me back, and how you going to act about it. You're going to be mad at me that you have to pay it back. And so we don't even feel that way. Like, just take the money. They actually tell you, if you have to lend it out to somebody, just consider it just a gift. So I think that's what it is. It's a bad association with money. And then it's a character thing. So I actually was really cool that he paid him interest, because most people know there's not many places you can go anywhere to get money. If you overdraft your account, you're going to get charged with an overdraft fee. You can't just get free money. It just doesn't exist. And so I think he probably had a good understanding of how difficult it is for money to be made and acquire it. And he showed it.
Plus, I think 50 is one of them guys that like loans a lot of people money. I don't know if it's a way to kind of keep tabs on folks or however it is, but you've seen 50 send goons on people who owe him money. So I feel like that's part of it, where 50 is always kind of known for coming and getting his money. It was interesting that a person actually went to 50 and gave him this stuff back plus interest. It's just a testament. But I found it interesting that he said the community isn't taught that. I really feel like that translates to, the community isn't taught to appreciate each other. It's just a means to an end to get something out of somebody. Go spend it however you spend it, and you don't even really appreciate the person who just helped you out. And again, I agree, but I don't think that's unique to Black people. I just think that the person in general is taught to be selfish and just kind of have their own ambitions at heart. And by any means, if you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, if you got to do that in order to make it all work, then, that's what you got to do. So I think that that's more pushed in society versus high character and integrity and things like that.
Yeah. Anybody else want to speak on it?
I say I'm a giver. If I give it to you, it's gone. I don't even think about it. If I have it, it's yours. If I rock with you like that, so it's not even.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Well, I know
any amount. Do you have so
no, I'm saying like if I rock with you like that, like if my mother needed money and she asked me, I'm not gonna be like, Mom, remember I let you borrow $500? Like, it's my mom. Like, I don't know, it's gone. I'm not like, oh, I have to calculate this back in. She's gonna give it to me next month. It's gone. If she gives it back, surprise.
I have a credit line for people. It might sound crazy, y'all, but I have a credit line for people. Right? What? Certain people credit line is $100. Certain people credit line might be $1,000. Some people it might be $10,000. But everybody has a line, right? And the way I associate it is, this is how much they're willing to destroy the relationship for, right? And if you allow them to do such things, they will most likely do it. So you give somebody $400, you either better be willing to let it go or destroy that relationship. So I think a lot of times we don't realize not everybody gets the same.
Should be destroyed over money. It's just money. You can always make more, but you can't always find good people.
But it's not necessarily because of that. That's why I said it's the character thing. It ain't even so much the money sometimes. It's the other aspect of it. You hiding from it. You running. You're not trying to hang out no more. You're avoiding the spaces I'm in. I'm like, I ain't even pressing you for the money, but you feel so guilty and you don't have the character to be the. It's like a lot of those things be the issue, I think, for most people. I think,
or like the only time you hear from somebody is when they
need some money.
Right.
Then that person's not your friend. That's why I said if I rock with you like that. Any of my family members, if they call me and they need it and I have it, it's theirs. Whether they can give it back or not, it's gone. I'm not like, remember that time I let you and
okay,
you
but hold on,
Kelly. Let me say this, because I'm not good. I don't be loaning money. And if I do, I know I'm not gonna get it back. But no. Courtney, can I? No. So I don't get no, because I've been burned. And
That's
you
trauma.
know, women, it could be. No, right? No. Ask your man. Ask your mama. I got one child that I take care of, and I tell her no. Mama, can I have it? No. I
What?
got it. No. I have been burned with people with money and not gotten it back. So I
like
just
if your
don't.
brother called, I don't know if you have siblings, and he said
Yeah, I got
my
3 of them.
car's about to be repossessed. Can I have $100 so I could?
No.
Jared, I need to be a drop. You need
Can
to
we
get that
change
Courtney
to
No drop.
$10,000?
You need to
Let's change that
get that
amount to
going.
$10,000. I think the
No,
amount matters.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'm sure the amount matters, but like I'm saying, someone that you grew up with, that you trust, like money should not be defining of your relationship. It's just money. So I will never have another brother. I only have one. If he needs something, he has it. I can always make more money, but I can't get another
3.
brother.
I want to be.
I got 3 of them.
We're
I
friends
got
after
another
this.
2 and then another 1.
That's what I said. If I rock with you, that's not everybody. That's not everybody. That's
I'm getting on your good list, and I got to get my credit up then.
No.
I just want to say this though. I mean, people don't even hear the amount. I think if you ask a lot of people for a favor, it ain't got to be money. Just the word favor. People are just not willing to give. They're not even trying to hear you out to hear what it is. People just don't. They're just in their ways. Am I capping? Am I lying?
No, I think
I don't even know.
I'm torn between Kelly and Aaron. I wholeheartedly agree with Aaron. It's about your relationship with money, and my relationship with money changed when I was on the receiving end, where I, started a company a couple years ago, and I had to do my first payroll. And I didn't manage the money, and it was time to pay everybody out, and I was short $5,000. And I reached out to a mentor because I was even afraid of not paying my bills. Like, I don't play with people money. They did the work. I know I'm like, catch help. I don't pay them. And I went to him in tears crying, like, man, I didn't calculate. I didn't budget well. And he gave me the 5 bands. And I'm like, okay, here's a payment plan. I'll do free photo shoots. He was just like, no, take it. He was like, I was where you were, and somebody helped me out. And so because of that, I pay it forward if somebody's in the same position, and I can give it freely. So my relationships, and because he was such a giver in that relationship, where I found that he's given to thousands to other men, his overflow of money coming back just is in abundant, because his relationship doesn't come from lack. So, but Kelly, there is certain boundaries you have to set with people, because they will take advantage and it will burn your relationship. So I definitely believe there's a combination of, it's a Japanese saying called harigatsu, where pretty much everything I give, I'm going to give back in tenfold. So you don't operate from a space of lack, but you have to have boundaries, and that's just self-care, where you don't allow people to take advantage of you.
That's why I said certain people. Like, I have my people, just random people I don't consider friends. I know that the people that I'm talking about, they wouldn't call me for just no reason. Oh, I need some weed money. Can I no, it's like something detrimental's happened, and if they're asking me, I know they need it. So I would never say no, and I wouldn't expect it back. If they do, wonderful. If they don't, to me, the money's gone. I'm not ever calculating in my mind. It's gone.
I have a question.
I do that with business, but not with family.
I have a question. So if someone asks you for money, do you ask why? Why do you need it?
Nope.
Yo, Kelly, let me hold about 10 G.
Would you not?
My cash app is $photo bank.
I asked you to be a friend first.
If my mother said, Shayna, I need to borrow $1,000.
For what?
If she said, I don't care. If my mother's calling me asking
I don't
for
care.
it, I know she needs it. Because she's not like that. She's not going to just do that. Something happened. Something's wrong. She needs it. If she wants to tell me, she can. I need you to give me a reason. Why do you need to borrow? This is my mother. This is the woman that gave me life.
50 grand?
If my mother called and she needed it.
Okay, well, let's just get your mom out. Let's just talk about your core group of people that you would, besides your mom.
Any
If
sibling.
they ask you, Kelly, I need $500.
Any sibling, I'm one of 5. Any
and you
sibling.
like, here you go. All right,
Yes.
bye-bye.
You giving them ideas, Courtney. Don't
Right.
we might got family watching this show trying to figure out
They
how to
already
get some money
know,
out of
though.
us.
My family knows I'm a giver. If I say no, they'll be like, who are you? Did you just take Shayna's body over? Like, are you an alien? Like, they know that I'm a giver. Like, they know if they need it, and I have it, it's there. If I don't have it, it's different. If they need it and I have it, it's theirs.
No,
And I think that,
It's
and I
just
think, I think that's the difference too. Like, the people, because I've been in situations where I've loaned it to somebody where I personally believe it was nonsense. And then somebody else came along and needed it for something that was really substantial. And I wasn't able to give it at the time because I already gave it to and I felt terrible because this person never asked for anything and they really needed it. And I know they really needed it and I couldn't give it because I already funded some nonsense,
I'll give you an example. My brother hurt his back at his job and he was waiting for workers' comp to come through, whatever. And he was going to buy a truck so he could have like a business on the side. And he asked me if I could help him get the truck because he didn't have money coming in from work. He didn't have money coming in. No problem. It's yours. I have it. It's yours. He said, I'll get it back to you, Shayna. He hasn't yet. I don't care. But my brother's not hurting he's able to provide for his family. He's able to pay his bills. And if he gets back to me, great. If he doesn't, I'm glad my brother's taking care of his business. Like, that doesn't bother me at all.
So let's ask a question. Let's say he fumbled that whole bag. Come back to you a year from now saying, I got this other idea. Can I get another 20 bands?
That's what I'm saying. My brother's not like that. He's a hard worker. Him being out of work was like detrimental to him because he's a provider. Like, that hurt his pride to even have to ask.
Right.
Sorry that I said that.
So I'm sorry. I'm next now. Now I got so many questions. So do you have, let's not talk about your brother, your family, friends. Is there an issue or do you have an issue with a man asking you for money?
That's a whole different story.
This is your buddy now. This is your group.
That's trauma. Yo, that's trauma. Yo, that's trauma.
Now I'm getting to it.
That's a whole different story.
Like, she's
have a problem.
Hold on. She has to sip her tea. Hold on.
We was all on Team Kelly till this came.
Yes, Miss Giver. Let's hear this answer.
Yeah, Miss Giver.
Come on.
She funded a mixtape. Who rap career you funded?
If it was a guy that you were dating, ask, hey, baby, I need $300.
No. No. If it's a random man.
No, I said someone you were dating.
Absolutely not. But I have and will. Like, if I'm in it with you, I got your back. If we're together, I'm in it. But some random guy asked me, or some guy take me on a date.
Okay, I got to be specific now. I'm gonna be messy. This is a guy you've been dating for a couple months, consistently. Y'all been intimate, and he like, yo, babe, like, I got this idea. Can I hold $1,000?
I have a story. I was engaged, and we were gonna get married in January, and in December, his son died, and he was just devastated. He didn't go to work. He didn't pay his car note. He didn't pay the rent on his business. Nothing. I took care of everything because he did not care to even call and make a payment on something. I took care of everything. I'm not going to tell you how much I spent covering it, but we ended up not working out because he didn't want a relationship after he lost his son. He just wanted to go into the woods and live by himself, and he gave up on life for a while. Anyway, I was never like, remember, I paid this. I need you to get that back to me now that we're not together anymore. No, it's like, okay, I was in it. This is what happened. I'll still have your back. I'll still support you. All right, that's fine. I'm not angry about it because I cannot tell someone how to grieve from the loss of their child, but I'm not going after him for the money. I'm not taking him to civil court. I need these money. I paid this. I didn't even bring it up because we were together. I was in it.
That's an extreme circumstance.
That is extreme.
Yeah,
Well,
let me go back to my question.
You asked for a
No.
story.
I was very. You're dating a man. You're dating a man for 3 months consistently. Things seem like it's going in a good direction. Y'all been intimate, and he comes out, say, "Can I borrow $1,000?"
Intimate in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't give her no out.
GTD. Already got the
however much
draws.
time it takes for it.
Got the draws.
Already got the draws, right? $1,000. You got it.
First of all, I don't get down like that.
Right after tax season too, so you got the money. You just got the money deposited in your account.
Yeah, April.
Right.
I pay taxes. I don't get tax.
Hey, you guys, I do got one more thing to go in.
Oh, she just skirted it out.
saved her.
JR always got a cape on.
Yeah.
Get a little cape on.
No, because we nearing up with Sage Talk. I just got through finishing. Sage Talk is gonna be live, y'all. Just put the link at the top of the chat. Sage Talk.
That's
Do
okay.
black
I got Kelly's
men
number. I'm gonna get the answer.
do black men trust black women? Protect your sperm. So that's what Sage Talk is going to be discussing. That link is pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure you guys tune in shortly right after this one. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was at the very end. And since we don't have any educators on the platform, we can talk about this and discuss this, I think.
Okay. I got K on speed dial.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit. So towards the end of that conversation, they were talking, and he was asked about the sex scene. Omari was asked about the sex scene, and he asked how was he able to keep his composure during the sex scenes with Angela. Channy said that he wouldn't be able to do it. He just wouldn't be able to do it. Omari, look at Amber with the wine glass up and everything, but Omari said his camera's like literally like right in front of your face. He said at times there were he felt the producers or the cameraman's foot more than he felt Angela's foot. So in those moments, you can't really get the way that Shani was trying to hint to, which I don't know. I don't believe that shit. I mean, those sex scenes look like they really was getting to it. I don't know how it looks from the cameraman being right there and the producer and everybody being in the room. But would you be able to hold your composure on the sex scene?
I don't think I would insert. I mean, if I was a trained actor, you know what I mean, that would be a different story. Me, as I am now, probably not. I'd probably be a little unprofessional. You know what I mean? It'd be a little poking. Not intentional, but just
hello, motherfucker.
You know what I mean? But if I was a trained actor, I'm sure that, and even now, I can only imagine with the situation. You have two people laying on the bed, you have a cameraman, you have a lighter, lighting, you got all these people surrounding you. So I'm sure, yes, that would probably be the last thing happening in that situation, man.
I mean, I think I'd be able to keep my composure for sure. I think, if you imagine,
really?
I mean, yeah, if you imagine the scene, I mean, because Crowder was talking like, oh man, he would be.
Now we're talking about Angela, right? I mean, given the fact that how down she been for this brother and the whole nine, and you laying down in the bed with her, would you be able to keep your composure?
Yeah, like if I mean, if I got the cameraman right here, the director yelling, okay, roll playback, you know what I mean? And I got to be laying there, you know what I mean, getting my act on. I feel like I would have to because of the awkwardness of the situation. I feel like to fight off the awkwardness, you got to focus on the task, which is more of a professional approach. So I think, yeah, I mean, it's people who in the real life situation be doing that kind of stuff and be smashing a person, a girl, a man, and they really not into it. So you figure if they got to do it as part of their job through a sex scene, depending on how graphic it is. I mean, some of these sex scenes be looking real graphic, and it's like I don't know how you come away from that not feeling some kind of way. But I would think that if there's a cameraman on my neck and the boom audio man who has the thing over my head, and then the camera is like 2 feet away, and this is the third take, you know what I'm saying? I probably will be just trying to get through it.
All right. Okay.
And he's screaming, Kyle,
disrespect.
6 more pumps. And you like, man, I only got 3 left, man.
Okay.
No,
So
we gotta.
I'm sorry. I have actually been on sets of scenes, and just like Kyle said, is nothing pretty about it. It's typically cold. You typically have about 10 to 15 people in the room, the director, the producer, the boom, the sound engineer. The way they move is like, it's like dancing. You got to move a certain way so the camera angle can get it. They typically have pasties or something, so during the scene is literally just all right, and you have to repeat the same thing about 10 times. After the 10th time, it just becomes
mundane.
However,
all right, let's roll over again.
However, if there is chemistry between the two people, that's how you see people after a movie, they get together. Like, you can't deny if there's chemistry between the people, they may do something afterwards, but actually on set, it's not sexy. They're typically cold. They're typically annoyed. They got to repeat it a few times, and there's like 10 people in the room.
Yep, like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's probably a good example where, them being on set together sprung off a whole relationship.
Yeah.
But I'm
Mr.
sure
and Mrs.
there's
Smith.
You're right. I'm sure there's dozens and dozens of other examples where they probably hated each other, but they had to do this sex scene real quick. So I feel
my ex is a model, and he had to do like this naked shower scene where and the girl had a really big butt, and she said she had to put it on him, and he said, I was like, no, this is not for you. Like, he had to talk to himself to bring it down. No, this is just work. So I think it does happen, but you have to control yourself.
I mean, imagine all those Cinemax movies where, it was super softcore. I feel like a lot of that stuff, they got to be focused on what they're doing. Like, they not, they're not real. They're not really having sex. So, and the whole movie is the imitation of that. So I feel like, that's part of the professionalism. That's why you're at the level you're at, because you're able to maintain, a certain amount of professionalism. I think, the man who is Aquaman, I can't think of his name right now, but
Jason Momoa?
Yes, he talked about his Game of Thrones sex scenes with Emily Clark, and how, in between takes, she was obviously cold, uncomfortable. He was trying to protect her, can somebody bring her a robe and all this kind of stuff. But I'm sure if you go back and look at the show or at the scene, it's probably the exact opposite of what you would think was going on in between takes. So I feel like that's just a testament to them being good actors, and not a man's urges just being so uncontrollable that he can't even stay focused on what he's doing because he's so distracted by all this.
Oh, that sound like shame. Oh, you sound like you shaming a man for being a man. Now, look, let's be honest here, okay? Factors matter, right? One, our mind, because it starts in our mind. Our mind can make a lot of things move. So if we think we can actually sleep with this woman, that impacts us, right? But if we already know we ain't got a chance, our mind can already accept that. But then the other aspect, what turns a guy on? If she putting her tongue down your mouth, in your mouth, and you actually are attracted to her, your thing gonna go with the thing.
My God!
You're gonna have to tape that thing, to tape it down, because it's going to change forms generally for most people. Let's stop trying to act like we got this superpower and that we could just, let's not tell women these lies. Look here, if I'm your man and I'm an actor, I go on set and see this fine woman and she putting her in my, listen, it's going to go with the movement, because naturally that's what you would want to happen. Because if it never moved and I could just control it like that, you'd be offended. So let's just keep it a bean. Let's just, come on now. Hey. Y'all know it's gonna move. So tape it down to something, but it's gonna move. We gotta stop this.
Hey, for real talk, it be people should probably sitting in the room with their lady with just some drawers on or something like that, and the sex scene come on. You could be watching Power and seeing that sex scene and your shit just got hard. You like, oh shit, you gotta shift this.
Can I, JR,
you weren't expecting that. Are you getting hard off Angela?
So then can I just ask, if the roles were reversed and your girl was an actress and she had a sex scene with a guy, would you guys be laughing?
I rebuke.
And right now the way you are?
I rebuke.
It's no doubt in my mind that she might get wet. It's just the reality of it. Shit. The humans, right, man? We talked about what humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're humans.
But I'll be right on set like, yo, pipe down, homeboy. Pipe down.
Y'all doing too much yelling, okay? I don't remember that in the script. All this moaning. of all that moaning in the script at all.
Would you have your wife refuse certain roles?
It'd be tough. I mean, you know, it depends. I guess like if I was like Halle Berry's husband when she did Monsters Ball, am I telling her I don't know about that scene, babe? Like probably not, because again they're an actress. But I feel like maybe should have Jennifer Aniston told Brad Pitt to not do no sex scenes with Angelina Jolie? Maybe, because you know that was kind of the catalyst of that divorce and that relationship popping off. So in that case, you really got to know your partner. You know what I mean? How long y'all been together, that kind of thing. But overall, you feel you want to say no because they're professionals. So, but humans are humans, so it's hard to say. I mean, if my wife had to do a sex scene with The Rock, am I gonna be going for that? Like, I gotta be there. I don't know. I don't know for that. So,
I mean, it's probably best you don't be
what
there.
does it matter if you there though? It's The Rock. What you gonna do?
No, I'm gonna have them glasses on like he do, man. I'm gonna be looking at him with the eyebrow, yo.
He's 6'5", 260 pounds. You ain't gonna do nothing.
but I don't think I'm gonna tell her not to take the role. I feel like that might be a step too far.
That motherfucker gonna be butthurt when you're like, sorry, we need you to lead the set.
Right.
Yeah. But there was things like Candy Burris was going out for a role, and it was a sex scene. Her husband told her no. And I think even with Megan Good and her ex-husband, that was kind of part of the issues that they had as well too, was some of the sex scenes that he felt uncomfortable with.
Oh,
so I mean, that's just, well, it's just human nature. I don't know what man, whether actor or not, want to see their wife or woman on grinding on another man, and vice versa. Because our bodies is our bodies. As much as we try to, I have control and I'm a professional, sometimes it's uncontrollable.
Does that bother a man, like, to not just know that your wife is with another man for an acting scene, but also it's going to be on the big screen for lots of other men to see?
Yes. Well, I don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it bothers men.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like
No, y'all body's more sacred to us. Like we don't look at our bodies as sacred. Like we know we kind of try to preach this on the YouTube, and y'all know I hate YouTube a lot of times. You know, but men don't
value. A lot to hate it so much.
Yeah, but it's mainly how people utilize YouTube. They just say anything and they be lying so much. Like it drives me crazy. But no, like let's be honest, men look at our woman differently than we look at our body. We're like, man, we men, and you call it sexist if you want, but we men. We look at the reason we picked y'all because we look at y'all not like the women out on these streets. So we don't want to envision that. We don't want to see that. And if you want us to continue to be dedicated to you, you don't want our mind to think of you differently. Because once that happens, ain't no telling what's gonna work.
It's like boot camp, yo. You just gotta know, yo. Wave goodbye to your woman, dog. When you see The Rock on that scene, yo, just wave bye, yo. It's the countdown.
Is that a movie? Did I miss the reference?
Oh no, I'm saying like Army. In the Army, if you're in a relationship and she's going to boot camp, you probably should wave bye to that relationship.
Oh.
Yep, because
I heard that too.
Yeah, they getting it in.
Yeah, boot camp.
So you're saying women cheat, but men don't?
No, I didn't say that.
No,
I said relationship.
No, what he's saying is, yeah, I know.
So if a woman goes into the Army and goes to boot camp, she'll never come back to the relationship. But
no, she'll be getting bussed down in
she's gonna get bussed down.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, they be getting it in. They be getting it in.
Yes, sir.
So you don't think guys do that?
They do.
Of course.
We don't care about men.
Women should say goodbye.
We like women. We don't care about what the hell a man do. We like women.
No. I'm saying, should a woman say goodbye if the man goes? Is it gonna be the same?
I plead the fifth.
Now with them benefits.
I don't know what the ratio is on the
benefit.
Not the benefit.
I don't need to talk about the benefits.
You got a Camaro on the way.
Oh my God.
All right, y'all. We got to go ahead and bring this into an end.
Get out for the benefits.
Sage Talk coming up.
Yeah. We got Sage Talk coming in on the 40 mark. So make sure you guys tune in again. Sage Talk will be discussing. Well, Lee will be discussing, do black men trust black women? Protect your sperm. So make sure you guys head over, click that link that's pinned to the top of the chat. Also, the link for Atlanta is in the description. It's a 2-day event. It's going down. The LAPEEF Experience takes over Atlanta. You don't want to miss that. So make sure you guys click that link. Come on out. I see you. Hank, you back already?
It's the end of the show, Hank.
Yeah, I'm here. What'd you say?
Yeah, start talking that talk. He came back.
Start talking that talk.
Y'all talking that soft porn talk. It got me excited. I'm like Channing, baby. I get hard on the minute. I don't need no blue diamond.
Where's your son? You're supposed to be watching the game.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
So where's your son? You're supposed to be watching the game.
Hey, you know, my son and them, they won about 30 points, man. So I said, let me get up out of here.
We started talking about sex. He thought we was going to talk about booty.
Yeah, he started talking that talk.
He like talking about booty.
I ain't gonna lie. I see these beautiful ladies talking about that intimate talk. I have to get back on. I said, man, I gotta get back at it.
Hey,
See,
man.
just rushing out the gym, hurrying up out the gym, fast walking out the gym to come out.
Man, what you said, I look like the same boat running up out that joint.
Oh, he hit it with that little backpack on. Oh shit!
Yeah, I got my water bottle and I grabbed everything. I said, "Hey, go on, I see you. Let me know the results."
All right, y'all. Hey, again, make sure y'all.
Courtney, can we get $100? Courtney, can we get anything about you?
No. Hell no. Ask this one.
That's right. I know that's right.
Hey, hit that like button on the way out. Everybody head over to Sage Talk right now. Click that link pinned to the top of the chat. We out, y'all. LAPEEF and Sundays. Catch us next Sunday. We out.
All right, good people.
Have a great weekend, y'all.
Everybody head over to Sage Talk right now. Again, that link is pinned to the top of the chat. Meet us in Atlanta, August 5th and 6th. That link is in the description. Hit that like button, family. Hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel. Welcome to the LAPEEF Network, the greatest network ever. Go on, come to Atlanta, get that LAPEEF experience, y'all. Appreciate all the support, y'all. Head over to Sage Talk right now. This stream is about to end. LAPEEF and Sundays. Hit that like button, family. Shout out to Green Gang. I see y'all. Let me see y'all over there on Sage Talk, Green Gang.